Part 11. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 102. Literary Department. 5 minutes after Sakakibara Raku left, Tianhai Kaimingya glanced at the message she had just received on her phone. She picked up her phone and examined it for a moment. Brother, the archery club competition will start next month, right? My sister will definitely participate too. She was about to take her phone back when she suddenly sighed as if giving up. The slender fingers began to type in the input field. Never mind. Yoshi. Sakaki Hararaku changed into Hakama clothes and just walked out of the locker room when he saw the tall figure of Amamai Kuruuri standing in the wind. Her flaxen ponytail hangs down behind her head. She is knocking, pushing, and raising her bow. Her eyes are looking from the front to the target in the distance. A bamboo bow more than 2 meters long was held high over her shoulder. Her eyes were focused in front of her, and her right thumb wearing a deerskin glove pulled the bowstring. Smooth and even. The taut bowstring did not tremble in her hand. The moment the arrow whizzed out, the bowstring trembled and moved the bow body, making a high-pitched bamboo sound. There was a sound of click, just like following the neat trajectory of the arrow tail, hitting the bullseye 28 meters away. Yoshi, immediately afterwards, there were voices of support from boys and girls behind him. The youthful voices as sweet as a choir. Sakakibara looked at the target directly opposite Tianhai Jurili again, and he fixed his gaze. It was discovered that dozens of arrows had been inserted around the center of the target, and none of them had hit the target. Sharp. Not just him, everyone in the Kyoto club, whether they were newbies or experienced Kyoto players, subconsciously sighed, turned their heads, and exchanged words. Even the seniors in the second and third years had to admit in their hearts how powerful this new minister was. Good afternoon, Senior Raku Sakakihara noticed Senior Hata Masahiro walking over. Sakakibara-san, good afternoon. Why are you here so late today? Ah, I also joined the literature club, and I usually go there for an hour. Oh, that's it, then it's okay. Deputy Minister Hata Masahiro responded casually. He stood next to Sakakibara Raku holding a performance record book usually used by the Kyoto club. He looked at Amamai Kuruuri in the shooting position and whispered to Sakakibara Raku. Do you know how many arrows Minister Tianhai has practiced since he came to the dojo an hour ago? As for Japanese bows, there should only be 30 at most in 1 hour. 49. On average, one arrow is shot in a little more than a minute. Taking a compound bow as an example, 100 arrows a day is above normal. As long as you are not afraid of losing your hands, you can practice more. However, traditional bows are completely different. Kyoto not only requires postures that are very different from those of compound bows, but also trains one's temperament and character. And the harmonious bow is the slowest among all types of bows. After shooting a group of compound bows, the person practicing the harmonious bow can slowly shoot 2 arrows. When using a compound bow, you need to maintain various standard postures to shoot the arrow at the speed of a compound bow. Difficult, extremely difficult. Did she hit all of them? Sakakihara asked again. Mahiro Hata showed the record book full of circles in his hand to Sakakibara Raku, and said in surprise, all hits. And the postures are all correct. I just want to know if Minister Tenkai's arm won't hurt. Hey. The string sound came again. Sakakibara looked at Amamai Kuruuri who shot another arrow, turned around and said with a smile, the deputy minister can take the initiative to ask her if her hand hurts. Minister Amamai will answer questions if he has any. No, 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 Hata Masahiro shook his head quickly, and drew an extra circle in Tianhai Juli's record column. He sighed, oh, I'm afraid that if I ask her, I will be shocked. You have to know, I have been practicing archery since the first day of junior high school. So far, I have persisted every day and my shots are not as accurate as those of Minister Tianhai. Did Sakakibara win a district-level championship when you were in junior high school? What's your hit rate? 80 upwards. This is quite impressive. Hata Masahiro looked like you are all freaks. Raku Sakakihara sneered and avoided. It feels like Japanese bows are much more difficult than compound bows. Higong is a traditional type of bow. There is no sight, and archery depends on experience. But if you have played other types of bows and then practice He-bow, you will have some experience, but it is not very useful. The bow posture requirements are very high, so it's completely different. Recently, you shoot 100 arrows every day, and I'm afraid that your new fiberglass bow will be scrapped soon. Fortunately, you didn't buy a bamboo bow. This thing is not only expensive, but also troublesome to maintain. Besides, are you sure you want to participate in the county competition? That's right. Single competition or team competition? Hata Masahiro's face was filled with signals of team competition. Choose the team competition. Sakakibara smiled happily and said, all the seniors from the last third grade are gone. The main male students in the second grade are only Senior Kobayashi and you, the deputy minister. As for the other seniors, Sakakibara Raku didn't finish what he said. The general meaning was that most of the other seniors only came with the purpose of cultivating themselves, and few were willing to participate in the archery competition with high competitive purposes. You have to compete with dozens of aces from the school, and every arrow hits the target, which is a lot of pressure. Not to mention that the audience will discuss it in the audience. Masahiro Hata thought for a while, I can't even call those people. If there were no attendance standards, they probably wouldn't come. Or we can find 2 more newcomers and experienced people, and train with all our heart for a month. It doesn't mean that you can't compete. Sakakibara shook his head, it's too late. I believe you, Deputy Minister, know better than me. If we follow these steps, our school may be eliminated in the preliminary round. Oh, but the school has set a goal for us. This semester we boys must get at least one of the top 3 places. Solo match. Single match, Hata Masahiro almost shouted, I guess you don't know, Sakakibara. Those who participate in the single match are all perverts. In the team match, you can also rely on the number of people to share the disadvantages. In the single match, there are people who are extremely hostile to themselves. They are proud, but they are guys with strength. It's not that I don't have confidence in my strength, but if no boy enters the top 3, our club's funds will be cut. So what if it's reduced? After passing the novice stage, most people will use their own money to buy a set of bow equipment. Oh, Sakakibara, you're new here and you don't understand. Last semester, Minister Minagawa applied to the school to start a dormitory activity during the school year. Our whole club, more than 20 people, went directly to Kyoto to play. Yes, I studied and exchanged for 14 days. I just went to have some barbecue and soak in hot springs for a while. Even so, there is still a lot of room for surplus in the club's funds. Sakakibara understands. If the club funds are gone, the camp will become very stressful. If it were gone, I would probably have to stay in school and practice for 2 weeks next time. Tokyo at that time, not to mention other things. The weather alone can kill you. How can it be as comfortable as going out for a hot spring trip? Can understand. Oh, that's it? Hey, you understand. Hata Masahiro touched him with his arm and said with a smile, so, as long as you join, we will invite 2 more second-year seniors or newcomers. They will be easier to talk to, and we will participate in the team competition together. It's completely feasible. The school's requirements for the team competition are not high, just the top 8 will be enough. With a little effort, this is more reliable than the single competition. This How about it? Do you want to consider my suggestion? Hata Masahiro asked Sakaki Hararaku while recording the number of Tianhai Juliuli. It's not impossible to agree to the team competition. But he has never participated in a team competition, and he has always played alone in his previous life. Classmates, I'm sorry to disturb you all. Sakaki Hararaku interrupted his thoughts and looked at everyone in the Kyoto Club. The instructor of the Kyoto Club, Mr. Sakahara, stood at the entrance of the Kyoto Club with his back hunched and his hands behind his back. Behind him was a teacher from the Academic Affairs Office who had just taken off his shoes and stood up. Sakakibara also knew this person. The last time he met Xiaolenzio at the school gate, it was this teacher who came to understand the situation. He is a middle-aged man wearing square glasses. He seemed to remember that his surname was Shiozaki, and he was Director Shiozaki. Mr. Sakahara put his right hand lightly on his mouth, cleared his throat, then put his hands behind his back again, looked around at everyone, and said, I believe you all know about the Kyoto Prefecture, Tokyo, level competition to be held next month, in mid-July. At that time, schools with Kyoto clubs throughout Tokyo will participate, and of course we are no exception. Sakahara-sensei. Mr. Sakahara looked at the person who raised his hand. My wife's classmate, if you have any questions, please tell me. If you want to participate in the county competition, do you still have to pass the qualifying round? Well, Mr. Sakahara looked at everyone again. If you want to participate in the prefectural competition, there must be a preliminary round. Normally, schools throughout Tokyo need to compete for the top 20 campuses in the preliminary round. Then the top 20 campuses will be drawn into groups, promoted one by one, and finally the championship team will be selected. Then how should the school's expedition team be selected? Well, although our archery club has a small number of people, there are still more than 20 people including girls. Moreover, this time the school has said that no one is allowed to run away, and there will be no idea of I don't want to participate, so I won't participate. Mr. Sakahara said this with an apology on his face. As soon as these words came out, sure enough, many veteran members of the second and third grade members began to whisper among themselves. They seemed unhappy with the school's decision. At this time, Director Shiozaki from the Academic Affairs Office stood up. Ahem. He cleared his throat louder. Wearing a straight suit, with his chest held up quite high and his chin slightly raised, he looked around at the students sitting or standing in the Kyoto Club and said, I know that many students are dissatisfied with the school's compulsory requirements, but students who have this idea in their hearts can think about what purpose you had in entering this school in the first place, and what goals you had in entering this school. Let's not talk about the girls from our Mingde Elementary School, but the boys. Director Shiozaki's stern words sent chills down the spines of the lazy second and third year seniors, who quickly came to their senses. Director Shiozaki withdrew his gaze and continued. In the past 2 years, the boys in the Kyoto Club have not achieved any good results. Last year, they didn't even make it into the top 20 of the qualifiers. Last year, Kobayashi and I were both sick and did not participate, Hata Masahiro whispered in Sakakibara Raku's ear. This deputy minister is really full of personality. Raku Sakakihara complained in his heart. The school provides financial support to each sports club every semester. Maintenance and competition funds for bows, arrows, hands, strings, and the entire dojo. Even when you go out to train, you wear the best equipment and use the best equipment. Territory, enjoy the best environment, not to mention things like sharing accommodation that looks like practice, but is actually travel. Most of the Kyoto Club are specially recruited sports students, that's why the school is so angry. Deputy Minister, are you too? Sakakibara asked in a low voice. Yeah, me too, Hata Masahiro responded in a low voice, keeping his eyes on the entrance of the Kyoto Club. The school can turn a blind eye to this kind of thing, But what's the premise? The premise is that you have to show results. The money the school gives you is not just for you to use for fun. Yan Yan. Director Chi kept slapping his palms with the back of his hand and loudly accusing him, making a series of heart-wrenching noises. Okay, Director Shiozaki, there's no need to embarrass the children too much. Mr. Sakahara quickly called to the director of the Academic Affairs Office, which made him breathe a little easier. Even if he didn't say this to the freshmen of this year's high school, it still makes people feel horrified to hear it in this scene. During this period, Sakaki Hararaku glanced at Amami Kuruuri. Fortunately, she seemed to be fine and just listened patiently. Director Shiozaki took a breath and said, "Since Mr. Sakahara has spoken, I won't say more." Mr. Sakahara stood up again with a kind face. "Don't be so nervous. Relax a little. If your feet are numb, you can move a little. Then, let's continue talking about business. This county competition is divided into men's team 5-person competition, women's team 5-person competition, men's singles competition and women's singles competition. This competition also has a mixed men's and women's doubles competition. The schedule it is similar to the team competition. The participants will follow the past practice. The entire Kyoto club, whether old or new, must participate in the selection. The selected personnel will all be determined based on their results, and then I will arrange the order of entry for the group team." When Mr. Sakahara said this, he suddenly paused. He subconsciously looked at the face of the teacher from the Academic Affairs Office. Director Shiozaki glanced calmly. Mr. Sakahara sighed inwardly. He thought to himself that he had been an instructor here for so long, but he never expected that something like this would happen. Although the reasons given by the school are completely reasonable. The men's and women's team competitions and the men's and women's individual competitions are all selected within the entire Kyoto club. As for the mixed men's and women's doubles competition, the quota has been determined by Tenkai-san and Sakakibara-san. Saka. Quiet first. Mr. Sakahara suppressed the voices of all the students. "I understand that you will have questions, but in fact, Tianhai won the first place in the entire Kanto region when he was in junior high school. Originally, I am preparing to enter the national competition. I won't go into details on the matter, as it involves Tianhai's privacy. As for Sakakibara-kun, he also won our Tokyo District Championship when he was in junior high school. Even though both of them are freshmen, they both have the ability to compete in the competition. Etc., etc. Sakaki Hararaku hasn't figured out the situation yet. Why did this suddenly involve him? Why did the school suddenly assign him and Julie Yulai to compete in the men's and women's doubles competition? He secretly glanced at Tianhai Julie Yulai. I found that she also seemed to be in a confused state. This is too abrupt. Hey, Sakakibara, what's going on with you? Did you piss off the school? What's wrong? Although it is enviable to be able to compete with Minister Tianhai, this is a double competition. It is also a difficult place to go. How do you say this? Ahem, you have been in the game, so you should know the atmosphere of the game. Well, the pressure is great. The audience's eyes are focused on it. Many people can't even draw their bows steadily. That's it. You have to understand that although the sport of archery is an individual sport, in a team competition, the state of any archer will be affected by his companions. If the previous archer fails to hit the target, the pressure will naturally be if it falls on your side. Pulling the string and shaking your hand will weaken your self-confidence a lot. This is the contrast, this is the pressure brought by the team honor when it is your turn. Masahiro Hata continued. There's nothing wrong with the doubles match, but it depends on who you compete with. If Minister Tianhai returns to hitting the target smoothly, do you think she will put enough pressure on those around her? Raku Sakakihara tried to construct that scene. Kuriyuri fired his bow smoothly and confidently beside him. The audience cheered in unison. but he accidentally missed the target, and there was silence inside and outside the venue. I seem to be able to feel it a little bit. It's just a little bit. Didn't I tell you just now that I blush just when I see Minister Tianhai practicing archery? I think that I have learned the bow for so long and am still not as good as anyone else. This is so far away. It's such a frustration. It's almost the same as ordinary boys who don't dare to raise their heads in front of a glamorous and beautiful girl. Masahiro Hata patted his shoulder. Don't worry, the boys are very self-aware and will not compete with you for this position. The girls will probably compete with Minister Tianhai, but 90% of it will not work. You have to come on, future champion of the prefectural competition, Sakakibara-san. Sakakibara smiled happily and said, "Stop complimenting me like that, senior." Hata Masahiro looked worried. "No way, we are really worried about you. If you accidentally develop early energy while practicing next to Minister Tenkai, with this thing, even a few years of Kyoto career will not be enough to cure you." By the way, early gas refers to shooting the arrow too early. There is a kind of Kyoto disease that is often mentioned in Kyoto books. Many people have suffered from it, and the treatment speed varies from a few months to a few years. It can be roughly understood as a mental illness caused by psychological factors. It's like Ip syndrome in golf. After the old gentleman and the teachers from the academic affairs office left, everyone returned to their own progress under Tianhai Julai's reminder. The former senior students also began to pick up the Japanese bow. Visible to the naked eye, there are a few more people at the shooting position. Masahiro Hata looked around at the Kyoto club, crossed his arms over his chest, and said to Raku Sakakibara beside him, "Come on, I'm optimistic about you. Deputy Minister, that's what you said." These two chapters set the stage for what to say tomorrow, and there will be an update. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 103. Hey! Arrows flew out and strings sounded. Sakakibara calmly held the bow and the other arrow on both sides of his waist, and looked at the target as big as a sesame. 28 meters away. As the sound of hitting the target came back, Raku Sakakibara made a mental calculation. There were 12 arrows in this group, and 8 of them hit. In the previous group of 12 arrows, 10 were hit. There were 12 birds in the upper group, and 9 were hit. The probability will still fluctuate. Sure enough, traditional bows are not that easy to learn. After practicing for 2 days, there was no stable improvement at all. However, relying on the master of hands obtained previously, the position of pushing and holding the bow has become much more precise. To be precise, archery is more stable. The winning team's hit rate in the last county-level archery competition was between 65% and 70%. In the entire Kanto region, this figure is about 80%. As for the whole country, at least 90% of them are freaks. Raku Sakakibara heard that the last national Kyoto champion had a 100% hit rate throughout his career. In the last round, he shot 51 arrows alternately with the second-ranked player, and finally won the crown with 52 arrows. Known as the Meteor of the Immortal by the Kyoto Alliance. This is outrageous. He calmed down his thoughts a little. Sakakibara continued to practice a set of shooting. 10 hits this time. In total, the Kyoto club has practiced 156 arrows in 3 hours today. Forget it, let's practice another set. At this time, most of the Kyoto club students had returned to their respective homes. Even the deputy minister and Kobayashi Ansai went home, leaving him alone, who continued to practice. Gazing at the sunset in the distance and the swaying green leaves of the banyan tree branching into the dojo, Sakakibara took a deep breath for a while, shook his aching arms, and drew 2 more arrows from the quiver. He pushed the arrow and stood up the bow. Just when he calmed down, he heard Julai's voice coming from behind him. "Brother, Do you still plan to practice? Tianhai Juliali was wearing hakama clothes and had just stood in the dojo with a neat floor. She was holding a bottle of mineral water that she bought on the way out. Behind him was Tianhai Kaimingyu, who came from the literature club. Amamai Nanamajetsu walked into the archery dojo, looking around with eyes like a cat, and finally her eyes fell on Raku Sakakibara, who was standing in the spacious shooting position in the center. Sakakihara Raku was now wearing a pure white hakama robe and holding a long bow, as if he had a different temperament. Brother is really hard working. Study hard and practice hard. Sakakibara looked away from the faces of the twin sisters, pushed the arrow flat on the middle hook of the bowstring, and raised the bow to hook the string. As soon as the thumb is released, the string sounds, and another target is hit. You guys wait a few more minutes for me to practice another set. Sakakihara pushed the second arrow in his hand and raised the bow again to shoot. Call out. Arrows whizzed through the air. The arrow cluster is getting farther and farther away from the target. Another arrow hit. Sakakibara stepped down from the shooting position, and Amamai Kuruori handed out a bottle of water. Tianhai Kaimingyu's emotionless eyes glanced at him. Brother is so lucky. Just after training, my sister handed me some water. Sakakibara took the water from Juliuli's hand and smiled at the adopted sister. If you participate in any competition in Nanamayu, if necessary, I will wait for you with special sour plum soup. Oh really? I don't like lying. Maybe what my brother said is true, but unfortunately, I won't participate in any sports that consume too much physical energy. It's always good to exercise properly. Tianhai Juliuli looked at her sister. Brother is right. Sister actually helped my brother to speak. You know I don't like to move, right? You are lazy. It's about spending limited energy in places where people feel more comfortable. This is a better explanation. You are lying. Sakakibara Raku, is Nanakjiki very weak? I can't walk more than 2 kilometers, Tianhai Juliuli explained. It doesn't matter, my sister will just carry me when the time comes. Tianhai Kaimingyu took Tianhai Juliuli's arm. The two sisters acted quite intimately. In front of Sakakibara Raku, Amamai Kuruori was a little reluctant to let go, so he lowered his voice and said, "Why do you ask your sister to act like a spoiled brat every day? Sister, don't think this is just acting like a spoiled child, it's not enough. You are only 5 minutes younger than me. 5 minutes is too small. You are my sister anyway. When I get tired, you just carry me." Okay. Sakakibara was afraid that the two sisters would start bickering again. Although the twins' bickering was beautiful, it would be endless. He was afraid that when he went back, Suzu would starve to death on the sofa. After I put away the arrows and targets for a while, I can go home. I'm here to help brother. Ah, thank you then. Brother, why are you so polite? After spending a few minutes tidying up the dojo and locking the door, the three of them returned home together. Tianhai Kaimingyu was sitting on the tram reading a book, and suddenly saw the font size June in the book. Elder sister. 2 days later, June 4th is the school anniversary. There are 3 consecutive days off on the weekend. Do you have any plans, sister? This has been arranged before. Because we have to participate in the competition, our club applied to the school for 3 days and 2 nights of training. Contest. Chi Minjayu doesn't know, right? In other words, I won't be able to see my sister for 3 days? My brother will also go with me. Amamai Kuruori glanced at Sakakibara Raku, who was sitting opposite with his eyes closed and resting, then turned back and said, "Brother must be going too. Sister Chan will definitely collapse." Huh? Why? Because now she can only eat the food cooked by her brother. When her sister said this, Amamai Kuruori remembered how Sakakibara Raku had no time to make breakfast 2 days ago. The 4 of us went to a convenience store to buy rice balls. While walking on the road, Sakakibara Suzu took a bite and kept shaking her arms with her arms, complaining with a look of disgust, "Is this a rice ball that humans can eat?" Then that morning she didn't have breakfast. "I only had a little lunch." Tianhaijuli Yulai thought for a while and said, "My brother's cooking has become more and more delicious recently. Is my sister conquered by my brother?" Oh Tianhaikimingyu hugged her head. "Do not say silly things. Damn sister, the only thing you can do is flick your forehead. But it's enough to deal with you." Tianhaikimingyu rubbed her forehead and put down her hand. Her eyes were half closed. "Sister, have you been playing games with your brother in the middle of the night recently?" "No, nothing." "Oh, then why do Chi Minjiao often see that my brother is often not energetic in the morning? Isn't it because of my sister that my brother overworks at night?" Tianhai Chi Minjiao leaned towards Tianhai Juli Yulai. "Chi Minjiao, don't talk nonsense. Sister, isn't Chi Minjiao telling the truth?" Tianhai Juli Yulai looked away, hesitated for a long time, and finally sighed, "Okay, you win this time." "Ugh, that's enough for my sister 5 more times." "Well, I'm willing to admit defeat. What do you want to do tonight?" "Sister sleeps with me today." "Don't move again." "Ugh, why are you flicking my forehead again?" "If you don't obey, I'll slap you on the forehead." "Then sister, wait tonight, and I'll come find you." "What? You guys are going to sleep over in 2 days?" At dinner tonight, Sakakibara Suzu was angry. "Then what do I do?" Tianhai Kaimingyu winked at her. "Sister Chan, you can stay at home. My sister and I will accompany my brother for the staycation." "No, no. Why are you going with Chi Minjiao? Are you from the Kyoto Club?" Suzu Sakakihara was so annoyed that she almost burst into flames, and her cheeks almost bulged with anger. Sakakihara Raku ate quietly. With 3 sisters sharing the same table, there is a lot to do just to have dinner. Although it is indeed cruel to leave Aling alone at home, there is a feeling of why don't you take them with you? Although I'm not from the Kyoto Club, this is considered a trip. It's not impossible to stay in a hotel opposite their Kyoto Club, or even next door. Then I'm going too. Sister Chan can't do it. Tianhai Kaimingyu tilted her head and said. "Why?" Sakakihara Suzu protested. Work, you've been very busy lately, haven't you?" "Aling is really busy with work recently. Because the dubbing heroine is very good, more and more sound supervisors are willing to let her take on roles. Even though he still only has over 10,000 followers on Twitter, he is still a well-known newcomer in the industry. A few days ago, her agent called her and told her that the agency was planning to cultivate idol voice actors. Although the date has not been set yet, there are already signs. "No, I want to go too." "What about work?" Sakakihara Suzu stopped talking and just sat back in her seat, looking like she was sulking. Sakakihara Raku felt that it was necessary to speak at this time. "It's a holiday anyway, so just go to bed late and wake up during the day and ask mom to make you breakfast. It's the same thing." Sakakibara Suzu glared at Sakakibara, as if she wanted to say something, "I just want to eat you." In the end, she still couldn't say the words. "Forget it." "Well, you're right, just let mom cook and I'll go to work." After spending 2 days and 2 nights in peace, we welcomed the morning as the ceiling gradually became clearer. Sakakibara lay on her bed with her head in her hands. She still wanted to play games with Julie Yulai last night, but Chi Minjiao had been in her room for the past 2 days. The 2 sisters didn't know what to play, and they wouldn't let her play. "Go in yourself." Speaking of games, Julie Yulai can not only play Super Smash Bros., but he can also play Street Fighter, Samurai Showdown, and Mortal Kombat. He said that he was not proficient, but he was able to defeat the players on the opposite side. "What about casual games that you said you would like to play? Farming?" A strange idea suddenly came to Sakakibara's mind. Could it be that, for Julie Yuli, this kind of fighting game is just for relaxation? It's scary to think about it. No, headache. Sister Julie Yuli definitely does not have such a character. In order to completely abandon this idea in his mind, Sakakibara got up decisively. We have to gather at the school gate today. After simply washing up, organizing a few sets of clothes and hakama clothes and bows for the training, Sakakibara walked out of the bedroom again. Sister Tianhai also opened the door at this time. They had changed into their usual casual clothes, with 2 bunches of long flaxen hair hanging down behind them. I don't know if it's because the twin sisters have a good relationship. Their daily clothes and skirts will deliberately choose the same style. Morning, Brother Tianhai. Julie Yuli smiled lightly. Good morning, Brother Tianhai. Kaimingyu said expressionlessly. At first, it was not clear which one was Kuruori and Nanamayuki, but as soon as they started talking, Sakaki Hararaku understood. The one in front is Julie Yuli, and the one behind is Kaimingyu. Good morning. Brother, have you packed your things? Yeah, ready. Then let's go. Just buy something to eat on the way for breakfast. Is Sister Chen still sleeping? Brother, please remember to tell Sister Chan that we are leaving. I know. The meeting place is at the school gate, and everyone should arrive before 9:30. Looking up the slope covered with ginkgo trees, many members of the archery club were already carrying longbows and chatting with each other under the shade of the trees. The bus has also been waiting at the school gate in advance. As soon as Tianhai Julie Yuli arrived, the members greeted him one after another. Because they had known for a long time that Minister Tianhai had a twin sister, they were not too surprised by the appearance of Chi Minjiao. But 2 beautiful girls stood in front of them, and the boys' eyes would glance towards them intentionally or unintentionally. The leader of the team this time, Mr. Sakahara, waited for the last member to arrive, and began to ask the students of the Kyoto Club to line up, and the men and women began to count the number of people. Tianhai Kaimingyu, who did not belong to the archery club, stood aside and watched them quietly. I said, Sakakibara. What's wrong, Deputy Minister? Do you know Minister Tianhai's twin sister? I often see you and Minister Tianhai drop by home. Can you introduce her to me? I know you, but I advise you not to talk to her. 100% of the time she won't reply to you. Why? Because she can freeze you to death with her eyes. Huh, Hata Mahiro glanced at Amamai Nanamayu, that temperament, well, Sakakibara is right. After counting the students, Mr. Sakahara clapped his hands and urged everyone to get on the bus. Before getting on the bus, Sakakibara took a special look at the logo on the bus compartment. Tianhai Life Pharmaceutical. Tianhai Life Pharmaceutical. Good guy, it turns out to be a private car. No wonder Chi Minjiao could sit on it naturally. After everyone got on the bus, Mr. Sakahara put his head around and counted the number of people again to make sure there were no absent or missing people. Well, okay, 26 are here, let's go. Following Mr. Sakahara's spirited departure and the students' lively chorus of okay, the bus drove down the Ginkgo Sakamichi. The bus drove for an hour and a half and finally left the city. As the bus drove on the highway, looking out the window, the weather gradually became clearer, and the sunlight shining through the clouds reached the road far in front of the bus. Driving past the foot of the mountain, a pine forest began to appear in front of us. The pine leaves were withered and yellow, the mottled sunlight filtered through the layers of green leaves and reflected the entire car, the orange sunlight flashed on the sparkling lake at the other end. When the bus drove through the pine forest and everyone saw Mount Fuji in the distance, the light beam fell into the eyes again, and they felt relaxed and happy as if they were suddenly enlightened. All the girls kept taking pictures of the huge foothills over there. Sakaki Hararaku also picked up his phone and took a photo. Send it to Aling. 5 minutes later, I received her reply. Just wait, I'll come find you after I finish my work this morning. Sakakibara smiled. I really want to come. There will be another update later. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 104. The bus stopped at a tourist street. The hotel has already been arranged by the school and the ministers. After getting out of the car, I took my tools and a change of clothes and went to my shared room in the hotel. As soon as he pushed open the old-fashioned wooden shoji, Sakakibara Raku saw the room in front of him that was much larger than the ordinary room, and suddenly felt a little nostalgic. There are 26 people in the archery club, 16 girls and 10 boys. 5 boys crammed into one room. In this kind of collective life, he finally got back some of the feeling of living in a dormitory. Sakakibara, how about sleeping next to me? You sleep outside. Kobayashi Ansai, who was holding a bow bag, pushed up his glasses and said to Sakakibara Raku. Of course it's no problem. Ah, just to thank you for helping my sister. Your sister is Xiaolin Ziu. Sakakibara Raku was slightly surprised. Then on the birthday tea party, why didn't you see Senior Yu? I came that day and left early so I didn't bump into you. That's it? Okay, no more words, just lay out your things and gather downstairs later. Okay. Finished packing and made the bed. Everyone walked out of the hotel in scattered pieces. Mr. Sakahara, who led the team, called everyone again. Probably in order to relax everyone's nervousness after being scolded a few days ago, the teacher leading the team decided that the whole morning of the new camp will be free activities. Good. Awesome. This, of course, earned cheers and cheers from everyone. Mr. Sakahara coughed twice and said seriously, but remember to come to the hotel to gather in the afternoon. If anyone is late, practice 200 arrows today before going to bed. No problem, everyone said in unison again, standing upright. The cafeteria is right in front of the hotel. Dinner will be served on time at 12 noon. Mr. Sakahara pointed in one direction. I won't say much else. Dismissal. Woo. Upon hearing this, everyone scattered. Sakakibara. Ah, Deputy Minister, is there anything else you want to say to me? Come on, I just searched for the Tianhai Life Pharmaceutical Group. If you didn't search, you wouldn't know. It turns out that the stomach medicines we usually buy are made by them. Annual sales are 3.6 trillion yen. 3.6 trillion yen. Yeah. Why don't you look surprised? How much does this cost? I'm just expressing calmness, but actually my heart is turbulent. Raku Sakakibara looked at the small bamboo forest near the street and the school of fish with emotion. If you work hard all your life, some people may not get more than a fraction. Yes, Hata Masahiro agreed very much and nodded repeatedly. To put it bluntly, after a lifetime of hard work, one look from Minister Tianhai is not as valuable as it is. Their family is so rich, no wonder they are so popular in school. Once you have a certain amount of money, appearance becomes secondary. Sakakibara, tell me, is it possible for me to be attracted by Minister Tenkai? Minister Tenkai's sister is also fine. Stop dreaming, you guy. Before Raku Sakakibara could speak, Kobayashi Ansai came over with his eyes closed, said impatient words, and slapped Hata Mahiro staggering. Can't you just dream? Hata Masahiro regained his balance, smiled and scratched the back of his head. Xiaolin Anzai couldn't help but say to him, what are you dreaming about in broad daylight? But I can indeed understand that 90% of the boys who come to this school have had this idea, trying to get some rich lady. But don't you think about it, how high are people's expectations? Even if you win the national archery championship, people may not think highly of you. Xiaolin, your family situation is not bad at all. Why don't you find someone with the same status? Your parents will definitely be very happy. All I can say is that the time has not come yet. Kobayashi Ansai shook his head, and without explaining much, invited Sakakibara Raku. Want to go out for a walk together? Everyone has nothing to do anyway. The scenery around here is pretty good. There is a shrine in the middle of the mountain, but we can't go too far. The 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea came over at this time. A girl walked into the crowd of boys so obviously, Hata Masahiro was startled. Minister Tenkai. What can you do? Nanami didn't even look at him, and just said to Sakakibara Raku. After chatting, come here, I have something to tell you. After saying that, he disappeared at the corner of the quaint street. Hata Masahiro was still recalling the feeling of being indifferent just now. He crossed his arms across his chest, moved his shoulders up and down in an exaggerated way, and trembled repeatedly. Hey, that's Minister Tianhai's twin sister, Haolang, and the minister have completely different personalities. Xiaolin Anzai mocked, I told you not to daydream. That was a completely normal conversation, okay. By the way, what's your relationship with Minister Emamai's sister, Sakakibara? She actually invited you out specifically. Sakakibara glanced at the vibrating mobile phone. It was the location that Nanami Minjio sent to him. He smiled and said, I said before, I am a member of the literature club, and she is the director of the literature club. She is probably going to tell me something. Hata Masahiro thought about it carefully, and this reason made perfect sense. How come this little boy has a relationship with 2 ministers Tianhai? How strange. Okay then, see you at noon. Walk slowly, Sakakibara. Well, see you at noon. After bidding farewell to the 2 seniors of the Kyoto Club, Sakakibara Raku picked up the phone again. According to the position Chi Minjio gave him, he was on the 2nd floor of a low old-fashioned tea house and saw the sky and see Chi Minjio overlooking him from above. Raku Sakakibara walked into the tea house, stepped onto the narrow stairs unique to Japan, and came to a private room to find the 7 moons of the sky that were waiting for him. Open the door. The private room is very quaint, with tatami mats, Japanese-style small tables, and sand pots and tea drains. There are also several pots of dwarf pine in square flower pots on the left. The Japanese really like dwarf pine. Did you book this room in advance? Sakakibara looked at her back and her long, flaxen hair. I came here while you were getting out of the car and packing your things. Juliuli won't be with you. What nonsense are you talking about, brother? As a minister, sister naturally needs to be responsible for taking care of everyone. No matter what, she also needs to maintain a relationship with the girls in the Kyoto Club. The position of minister is not empty. You called me here because you wanted to. Tianhai Kaimingyu turned around calmly, don't think too much, I didn't mean to ask you to accompany me. The problem is, I haven't finished speaking yet. With my brother's simple brain circuit, I can know what he is thinking without having to finish his sentence, Tianhai Chi Minjio especially emphasized, and I won't lie. The purpose of calling you here is just to talk about something. About the progress of brother versus sister. You can't believe the words of the 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea. The very fact that she didn't lie was lying. Sakakibara casually sat on the cushion of the coffee table and began to make tea for himself. Even if you are my sister, I will still be angry if it involves personal attacks. Oh? How will your brother show his anger? That's impossible to say. Actually, I didn't think it through. Tianhai Kaimingyu saw that he had made herself an extra cup of tea and signaled to her, so she quietly sat across from him. The girl's long hair is tied back, and her sitting posture is so delicate and elegant that every move she makes is full of beauty. Even though Sakakihara doesn't want to admit that she is narcissistic, looking at it this way, she can indeed be called a perfect beautiful girl. Drinking tea with her makes me feel more at ease. After chatting for a while about Julie Yulai, Tian Haikimingyu gave her brother advice to pursue the victory. She sat across from her, elegantly picked up the teacup, smelled the lingering fragrance in the cup, then put it in front of her mouth and took a sip. These movements have some shadows of the tea ceremony. After learning that she knew so many things, Sakakibara couldn't help but think about what kind of childhood their sisters had. Learning all kinds of heavy etiquette is definitely indispensable. Even if you are a brother, peeping eyes are unforgivable. If you want to see it, tell me you like me, and you can see it anywhere you want. Sakakihara Raku was already used to this sentence pattern of hers. I'm just curious about the life you and Julie Yulai had when they were children. Tian Haikimingyu paused for a second, visible to the naked eye, then she put down the teacup. Brother wants to inquire about sister, right? Not at all. My sister and I didn't have anything to talk about when we were young. Apart from studying, we still study. Of course, my sister and I are both talented, and these little things can't trouble us at all. Tian Haikimingyu lightly closed her eyes, her tone as calm as water. Now I admit it, Chi Minjiao, you are more confident than me. Tian Haikimingyu teased, brother, didn't you say it was pride at first? It's true that you are proud, but you didn't say that I can't learn from your self-confidence. Brother is really diligent and studious. If his memory was better, it would be perfect. Sakakihara Raku realized that he seemed to have heard Nanamijiao say similar words before. I have a better memory, is there something hidden? Tian Haikimingyu glanced at the time on her phone. Sister Chan is probably arriving soon. Brother will pick her up later. Is she so fast? After all, she has finished all her work in advance. Tian Hai Chi Minjiao glanced at him and put down her phone. I'm going to the bathroom. Well, go ahead. Tian Hai Chi Minjiao got up and left the private room. Raku Sakakihara was thinking about how to deal with his upcoming sister, when he suddenly noticed that Nanami's mobile phone on the table lit up. It seemed to be a message sent to her by a Ling. Sakakibara's eyes subconsciously wanted to glance at Nanami's mobile phone. The first thing I saw was a wallpaper, which seemed to be an older photo. There were two little girls whose flaxen hair made him recognize them at a glance. They must be Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiao when they were young. Because the wallpaper was displayed opposite him, Sakakibara couldn't see clearly. He only vaguely felt that the two little girls were particularly cute. He was a little curious and wanted to see more of their sisters when they were young, so he couldn't help but crane his neck. From this look, it seems that there is another person. Brother, don't you know that peeking into a girl's mobile phone will cause resentment? At this time, the screen suddenly went out because of the passage of time, and the 7 bright moons in the sky seemed to come back out again. She picked up her phone. Ahem, Raku Sakakihara tried to cover up his embarrassment with a cough. I just seemed to have seen a photo of you and Jurulai when they were young, and I was a little curious. Brother likes little Lolita? Lolakan. Why did he just take off his hat? The little devil still has a powerful mouth. No, I just feel cute. But it's normal for my brother to like my sister and me when we were young. Everyone who sees my sister and me will like us. Of course, the twin girls, they were so cute when they were little. It must be so cute that my heart melts. Brother, do you want to see the photos? You might as well take a look. A fried rice with potato chips for lunch. Wait a minute. It's dormitory time now, so I don't have a stove for you to cook. Just ask the boss downstairs to borrow it. Amamai Nanamijetsu gave the phone to Sakakibara Raku. Look, this is a photo taken when my sister and I were 4 years old. So clear. Don't underestimate the cameras from 10 years ago. Sakakihara Leto looked twice. They are really too little Lolita. Sakakihara Raku can still tell who is Nanamagetsu and who is Kuruori. Because Julie Yulai gestured towards the camera like a scissor hand with his arms raised high. Chi Minjio just stood beside her sister quietly. Cute, the twins are really cute. Cute. But I seem to have seen a figure just now. Those are the leaves above my sister and me. Oh, that's how it is. I'm going to the bathroom. Tianhai Chi Minjio took back her phone. Sakakibara looked at Nanamai as she walked out of the private room and closed the door. Why did he suddenly feel that Chi Minjio turned around to pick up the mobile phone in the middle of the road to hide something? Chi Minjio has nothing to hide. Forget it, if you don't understand something, just ask Julie Yulai later. About an hour later, around lunchtime, Sakakibara sat in a private room of the tea house opened by Amamai Nanamai, spending the morning with her. Said it was to accompany. In fact, everyone is doing their own thing. Tianhai Chi Minjio especially picked a few books to read when she went out this time, and put them in a pile next to the table. Can you give me a copy? Raku Sakakihara was really bored looking at his phone, so he could only say to Chi Minjio. What do you want to read, brother? Classical literature, modern literature, or mystery novels? Get a mystery novel. Sakakihara Raku. Nanamai mentally calculated the time for Sakakihara's Suzu to arrive. She weighed her gold-rimmed glasses and took the initiative to pat a cushion next to her. Sit here. Sakakibara understands. This is the little devil getting sick again. Alas, jumping around all the time is not a good thing. After several previous contacts with Nanamayu, Sakakihara Raku has completely understood her character. The little devil can also be shy. He sat down generously. Oh, brother, are you brave this time? Tianhai Kaimingyu looked at him and sat next to her. Classmate Tianhai, last time you asked me to lift my skirt, you didn't even dare dash. Sakakibara Raku didn't expect that Nanamai sat close to him, pulled his arm, and put her little head on his arm. I'm a little sleepy. Sakakibara couldn't describe what it felt like. However, this I'm a little sleepy is definitely an excuse. The girl's silky hair slid along the skin of her arms, and a faint fragrance wafted over her. Tianhai Kaimingyu put her ear against his arm, as if she could hear his heartbeat speeding up. Brother, is your heart moved? I remember you said before that you would never like Tianhai Kaimingyu. It's nothing. I'm just a brother who can lean on my sister for a while. When Ailing wants to sleep, she often leans against me like this. It would be great if my brother's heart was as hard as his mouth. Tianhai Chi Minjio leaned against him and held his arm specially. What do you mean by this? Isn't it better to be soft-hearted, / Sakakihara Raku's heart was roaring, he must persevere. Stick to it. Anyway, the little devil doesn't dare to go any further. She will be the loser then. However, Tianhai Kaimingyu just leaned against him with her eyes closed, as if she was really sleepy. This atmosphere lasted for at least 5 minutes. You really want to sleep? Squint for a while. Then why rely on me? Because there's nothing to rely on. Although the little devil is a little devil, he still seems to have a certain fondness for himself. Forget it, let her lean on her for a while. Bang. At this moment, the wooden barrier door of the private room was pushed open with great force, making a loud noise. Sakakihara Suzu took a big step, carrying a small bag, hands on her hips, and said confidently. Lord Angel is here. Lele, why don't you hurry up? Thank you. Seeing Amamai Nanamagetsu leaning on Sakakibara's arm in the tea room, Sakakibara's happy little face suddenly fell. Additional update progress 26,000/28,000. After these updates are completed, updates will be added from time to time. In addition, It seems that the monthly ticket sales exceeded 1,000 last month. Is there another big chapter? About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 105. Chapter 105, Kyoto Club 3 is wrong. It's a sure field for two younger sisters. Snort. Sakaki Suzu put down the suitcase in her hand and stood at the door reluctantly. Sakaki Raku opened his mouth to explain something, but Sakaki Suzu was not in the mood to listen at all. He just puffed up his face, put his hands on his knees, and stared at someone sleeping on someone's arm. The expression "I am indeed resting" was written all over that man's face. But no matter how she looked at it, Sakaki Suzu could only see the word provocative. She figured it out. When I was at the zoo before, I seemed to be holding someone's arm in this way. This is revenge, naked revenge. The brother-sister relationship between someone and someone is really good. Sakaki Suzu sat in front of Ryo, folding her arms across her chest, and looking at the opposite side with her pretty little face at an angle. The moment Suzu opened the door, Sakakibara began to remind Nanamijetsu that Suzu was here. But not only didn't it work, she pressed even tighter. Sakakibara Raku was not the kind of person to be indecisive and wanted to push her away immediately. But Tianhai Kaimingyu directly pinched the flesh on his waist, and it felt sour and refreshing to turn around. Hiss. It's really unsatisfactory. He could only force a smile. Fortunately, Chi Minjiao took the initiative to sit up straight not long after Aling sat down angrily. She looked sleepy and rubbed her eyes. Suzuki-chan is here, good morning. Chi Minjiao, you can't deceive me, Lord Angel. I was tired from reading just now, so I leaned against my brother and slept for a while. My brother definitely didn't mean to drag me against him on purpose. As soon as Sakakibara Suzu heard this, she immediately moved her eyes to Sakakibara Raku's face. I didn't. Sakakibara looked serious. You just have it. And you told me that you would be happy when I came. Sakakibara Raku was very naughty. This is so happy. Suzu finished all the work first, just to be able to go out and play for a few days today. Of course Sakakibara Raku was happy. But now Aling doesn't seem to trust herself very much. It just doesn't help to explain myself. Just to coax me, and then get along well with your new sister. Under Sakakibara Suzu's eyes that were almost declaring war, Amamai Nanamayu only had doubts in her eyes. His face is full of naturalness and innocence. What are you talking about, Sister Chan? Chi Minjiao is just tired of reading, so she just wants to lean on her brother's shoulder. It shouldn't be a problem if she lets her lean on his shoulder, right? This sentence stopped Sakakibara Suzu. After thinking about it carefully, it seems that there is really no big problem. There is no problem, but the problem doesn't lie there at all. Where did that come from? Tianhai Kaimingyu asked. Sakakibara Suzu was stunned. She opened her mouth, but she couldn't say anything. Right, what's the problem? From her experience, she simply felt uncomfortable because Chi Minjiao was relying on Xiao Lele. Could it be that Sister Chan feels that her brother is being taken over, so she feels particularly uncomfortable? No. In that case, why is Sister Chan feeling uncomfortable? Damn bad woman. Although I really don't want to say these words. But Sakakibara Suzu didn't want to admit defeat to Nanamijiao. It is absolutely impossible to admit defeat to Chi Minjiao. No, that's right, Suzu. Sakakibara cleared her throat and sat upright. What's wrong? Realizing that Sakakibara Raku had also looked over, Sakakibara Rin suddenly became angry, her face began to turn red shyly, and she stuttered a bit. I just feel uncomfortable. He is my brother, and I don't want him to be abducted by someone. The voice became smaller and smaller. Who do you mean, Tian Haikaimingu took advantage of the victory to pursue. It's you. You. Okay. Oh. From Sister Chan's perspective, is this abduction? Moreover, Sister Chan is indirectly admitting that she is controlled by her brother. Me, me, only. Sakakihara Suzu panicked. Only. Just a little bit. Sakakibara touched his forehead in worry. Suzu, everyone knows that you are a brother controller. Even if you puff out your chest and say that you are a brother controller, no one will be surprised. Moreover, why is the atmosphere so strange? This is not about being caught and raped. Why do you feel like you are being raped? Sakakibara took the initiative to interrupt their fight. Okay, it's almost lunchtime, how about I go cook for you? This is outside. Brother, do you have a place to cook? Just ask the tea house owner to borrow it. I can pay him some money. The owner of the tea house is a proprietress who is over 60 years old. She is a little hard of hearing, but she is very talkative. Originally, she was offered some money to borrow the kitchen, but she declined with a smile. Young people can just take it and use it. There are only so many ingredients, so you don't have to pay. But it's almost time for dinner, so I hope you can use it quickly. No problem. The old woman opened the curtain and walked out of the kitchen. Sakakibara's eyes returned to the faces of the two sisters. There is a distance of 5 Sakakibara raku between them, one on the left and one on the right. Sakakibara couldn't help but lament. Although they are both so pretty and cute, why don't they be friendly with each other as younger sisters? Why did Chi Minjayu deliberately tease Aling? Has Aling ever offended her? Forget it. Sakakihara shook his head, looked at the two of them again and said, what do you want to eat? Fried rice with potato chips. Beef curry. Finished. Raku Sakakibara rubbed his temples as if he couldn't bear it. My mother-in-law told us to hurry up. We definitely don't have time to prepare 2 dishes. And there is rice and beef here, but you have to go to the convenience store to buy potato chips and curry. Then be mine, Sakakihara Suzu shouted immediately. Tian Haikaimingu crossed her arms with one hand. Brother, please don't forget the agreement you made with me before agreeing to my sister Chan. Sakakihara Raku knew this would happen. Agreement, what agreement? Sakakihara Suzu frowned and looked at her. Refused to answer. Tian Haikaimingu turned back coldly. Damn it. Sakakibara Suzu was so angry that her teeth were itching, but she couldn't do anything with Kaimingyu. I don't care, I only eat brother's beef curry rice. Amamai Nanamayu looked directly at Sakakibara Raku. Brother, you have to think clearly. Not speaking is the best response. Why are you going against me, Nanamajetsu? Sakakibara Suzu frowned, staring straight at Nanamai Nanamitsuki. Tian Haikaimingu stood quietly and dignifiedly. I don't mean this at all. As a sister, I naturally like Sister Chan very much. I am just urging my brother to complete the agreement between us. What kind of agreement? It's completely fake. I'm not like someone who can tell lies at will, such as I don't like the food you cook. Who likes you? No way. Sakakihara Suzu blushed with embarrassment. I'm telling the truth. It's the truth. Yeah. Sakakibara Suzu began to fight back. I think Nanami Izuki is the one who likes someone, and you still ask him to go to the literature club every day. That's just my brother coming over to help Sister Chan complete the manuscripts she has to hand in. Did Sister Chan forget that she is in the literature club? It's over. It's over. The two sisters are completely in love with each other. No, I have to bite the bullet. Chi Minjayu, stop making trouble. When Suzu Sakakihara saw her brother standing on her side, she raised her chin triumphantly, with a little pride on her face. Snort. Tian Haikaimingu also chose to shut up. Her expression did not change, and her eyes were as deep as ice in winter. She spoke to Raku Sakakibara without any emotion. Are you blaming me? Are you dissatisfied with me? No, Raku Sakakihara immediately expressed his neutral position. I just don't think there should be such a noise now. And Aling too. Sakakihara Suzu's still happy face fell down again. Why are you talking about me? She said angrily. I'm not talking about you. Didn't I just say it? But we shouldn't make a fuss now. What kind of quarrel is this? Isn't this a quarrel? I'm afraid you'll start fighting each other then. How else could I explain it to Julie Yulai and my mother? Tell them that two sisters are fighting each other over who they cook for. Forget it, Tian Haikimingyu spoke first and sighed helplessly. Let's give it to my sister Chan this time. I should give it to my sister. If my sister makes the decision this time, I will eat with you. Didn't Sister Chan say we only eat beef curry? I don't mind leaving it to her. Brother, just make it for Sister Chan first and don't worry about me. Doesn't my sister only eat potato chips and fried rice? I rarely see you eating other dishes at home. Brother, you should make it for your sister. The two of them looked at Sakakibara Raku at the same time. Sakakihara Suzu didn't know whether it was intentional or not, but she enunciated the word sister very clearly. The voice also unintentionally changed into a cold voice. It seems that Sister Chan is still not convinced. Obviously this is a sign of respect for my sister. Okay. Stop. Sakakihara reluctantly stretched out his hands and interrupted them again. Women are so terrible. Overtly concerned, secretly sarcastic. Speaking of which, Aling's rank is quite impressive, and she can actually compete with Chi Minjiu by a score of 70-80%. So, what are you going to cook today? Tian Haikimingyu, beef curry. Sakakibara Suzu, no, potato chips fried rice. Sakakibara raised a hand tiredly, let's eat ramen for lunch. Dot. Seeing that they finally stopped talking, Sakakibara finally breathed a sigh of relief. He had to state it again. Women, that's terrible. After spending 20 minutes, Sakakibara personally made them a bowl of ramen. Chi Minjiu likes light and plain noodles. Aling has a stronger taste, thick soup. He himself made a bowl of thick soup with chili. Compared to the raging fire in the kitchen just now, the dining table at the moment is simply calm. It was so harmonious that he could even hear the birds chirping on the branches outside the wooden window. Natural and so refreshing. The quiet and tranquil time passes slowly. I have no place to stay. Ah. I don't have a place to stay. I'm still a minor. How can I stay in a hotel by myself? Suzu Sakakihara muttered, stirring the noodle soup in the ramen bowl with her chopsticks. I have to spend 3 days here. Sakakibara began to think, I want you to live in the girls' dormitory with Julie Yulai. It seems a bit inappropriate. It's not good to tell the leader about this. Sakakibara turned his gaze to Amami Nanamajetsu, who was eating noodles elegantly. It seems that Chi Minjiu has opened a separate hotel here. Although she is the same age as Aling, she can achieve anything with her methods. Brother, do you want Sister Chan to come and live with me? Is that okay? Sakakibara smiled reluctantly. He thought that the two sisters had just quarreled, and they would never agree so easily. But it doesn't matter. As the elder brother, I have the confidence to let Chi Minjiu put aside her prejudices. Okay. Tian Haikimingyu nodded gently and took a sip of green tea. Why is it different from what you thought? Where's Aling? Aling wouldn't be willing either. Sakakihara Suzu noticed that her elder brother looked at her. No problem. Tian Haikimingyu glanced at her sister. Let me explain in advance that I have booked a single room and there is only one bed for sleeping. It's okay, as if what happened just now had never happened. Sakakihara Suzu nodded matter-of-factly. This. Sakakibara stared at the noodle soup in front of him and fell into deep thought. After all, who has the problem? Meet at the door of the hotel where we are staying on time at 1 p.m. The sun is hidden among the bamboo leaves, falling in mottled colors and shattering on the stone road. Moss covered the cracks in the rocks, and there was a hint of moisture. Mr. Sakahara was talking about some basic rules of accommodation, and Sakakihara was enjoying looking at a bamboo elephant beetle sleeping on a bamboo leaf, that is, a bamboo beetle. He suddenly felt a little poetic. Under the sun, on the bamboo leaves, bamboo beetles are sleeping. After thinking about it carefully, it seems to rhyme. Well, as expected of me, Sakakibara, I casually composed an unprecedented haiku. As for some people saying, this is also considered a haiku. Sakakibara Raku could only sneer at it. He began to think about how to read the haiku. Correct. He remembered. Not wearing a crotch cloth, a gust of spring breeze blows, and the buttocks are fully exposed. 3 Saints of Haiku and Zoa Village. There are also some profound haiku poems by this 3 saints. I wish the fireflies were caged. Broken, fluorescent. Flying in the night sky. Struggling to put each firefly into the cage. For fun and good looks, turn on and off the fluorescence in the cage. He also moved his thoughts to break the firefly cage and let the fireflies dance wildly in the night sky. Is this contradictory human nature? The rest of the time will probably consist of each student practicing their own archery, and then sharing their experiences at the end. No one can explain the so-called communication. Just improve your respective archery skills and postures step by step. Raku Sakakibara practiced from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., eating some transitional food, resting for a while, and then continued training. The classmates in the club all gave him thumbs up when they went to take a break. He was simply a training model for this staycation. Come on, Sakakibara-kun. Come on. Thank you, seniors. When the female members left, many people greeted him. Elder brother. Do you feel like your body is too tight? Isn't it necessary to use force to draw a bow? Not quite. What's the meaning? Relaxation is also an important part of Kyudo, which involves understanding the principles of Zen. Shooting is a lifetime. In this life, it is not all the time that you need to maintain tension. Relaxation is also a very important part. Sakakihara Raku roughly understands. Julie Yulai should be telling him to relax when he draws the bow. Brother can simply understand that you should face everything with a calm mind and a relaxed mood. Tianhai Julie Yulai said as she raised the 2.2-meter long bow. A set of pleasant hand-raising movements, followed by sharp arrows and the cluster of arrows that just hit the bullseye. Sakakihara couldn't help but look at the target 28 meters away. In this way, a simple arrow is completed freely. The draw weight between him and the bow is only about 22 kilograms. Maybe he really should give up his full concentration? I'll practice some more. Then I'll accompany you. Although I really don't want to admit that I covet Julie Yulai's beauty. However, with her by his side, every arrow he shot and the sound of hitting the target seemed to pierce his heart. He looked at Tianhai Julie Yulai next to him again. The word beauty is written everywhere on her neat ponytail, her graceful bow-holding posture, and her serious face. The longer Sakakihara Raku spends time with her, the more you can feel her beauty, the hazy light pouring down from the sky. Then think of her excellence and her status as a rich young lady. Sakakibara began to understand what the deputy minister told him about the inexplicable pressure that arose around her. However, these are not important to me. When you were preparing to pursue her, didn't you already have the consciousness to be better than her? Call. Sakakihara Raku raised his slender bow under the gray-black clouds, his posture straight. His thumb moved the end of the string. His fingers only trembled slightly. An arrow flew out when Julie Yulai opened his bow and was about to release it. The green arrow tail, the high string sound, the arrow whistling through the air. duo. The distant target sounded. In contrast, there was an arrow fired prematurely by Tianhai Yuli beside him because of his influence. The arrow landed in the center of the dojo, causing her to lose consciousness for a moment. Missed the target. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 106. Night falls. Compared to the usual darkness in Tokyo, the night sky on the outskirts of the city is even more vast, with insects chirping and cicadas chirping, and the rustling bamboo leaves all around seem to be stained with a layer of sparkling moonlight, clearly visible. Sakakibara locked the wooden door of the dojo and stepped onto the stone path at the door. A gust of night wind happened to blow in the forest. The sweat on his forehead was blown to the point of chilling. "Is that arrow okay?" Sakakibara asked Kurayuri, who was waiting for him in front. Just now, it was the first time that he saw Yuli miss the target due to being affected. "It's okay, brother, don't worry." The gentle Tianhai Yuli shook his head, but that arrow was indeed affected. Affected? According to common sense, Yuli's heart should be very peaceful. Although Sakakibara Raku has not been exposed to Kyoto for too long, he also knows how powerful no distractions are required for Kurayuri's Kyoto with a near 100% hit rate. "A straight shot will hit" is not a useless slogan just spoken. Sakakibara's intuition told him that something happened to Yuli to be affected by him. "What troubles does Yuli have recently?" "Trouble? No." Tianhai Yuli replied with a normal expression. Sakakibara wanted to take a closer look at her expression and face, but it was never a good thing to stare at a girl all the time. After taking one look, he could only look back. Yuli seemed to have no problem at all. Intuition gone wrong? The two began to walk side by side, walking along the bamboo forest path towards the hotel. Tianhai Yuli suddenly looked at his shoulder, which was much taller than hers, and said with a smile, "Brother, don't think too much, it's really nothing. It was just an accidental mistake that caused me to miss an arrow." We cooperated very well. Sakahara the teacher watched from behind and kept nodding. "Take another look at her reassuringly beautiful face." "I'm afraid I'm really overthinking it." Sakakibara calmed down a little and gave up the idea. He doesn't have a Ling's character of fighting to the end just because of an intuition. "This morning, I saw photos of you as children on Chi Minjio's cell phone. Is it the photo that Chi Minjio set as the lock screen?" "Brother, did you see it?" "Yes, it's very cute." Sakakibara greeted her face, but couldn't say especially when you made the scissor hand gesture toward the camera. This sentence is a bit like a confession. He said it out of fear of being misunderstood. After Tianhai Yuli heard him complimenting her cuteness, she didn't show any shyness, but smiled generously. Yuli's expression does not make people feel distant, but rather approachable and friendly. "And she's so cute, I want to hold her." Little hands folded in front of her. The two continued walking, and the grass that poked out from the gap in the stone road was carried by the breeze of the Kyoto uniform. "I remember that you seemed to be standing in front of a bush of white flowers, right? The picture is still very clear." "Well, I remember it was taken during a trip in the past." I seem to have made a scissor hand gesture towards the camera. Tianhai Yuli looked at the moon and thought for a while. She still remembered that photo. It seemed that her brother when she was a child also appeared in the photo. That day Chi Minjio pulled him to take photos with her. The person who took the photo was the mother. Raku Sakakibara remembered the question from the morning and continued, "However, I seem to have seen another person taking pictures with you, but then Nanamijio showed me the photo, and it was gone again. It looked like leaves." Chi Minjio took the initiative to show it to brother. Tianhai Yuli blinked. Brother caught a glimpse of a figure before. When Chi Minjio showed it to him again, the figure was gone again. "Right. Then my brother must have seen it wrong." Tianhaijuli knew clearly, but he didn't really want to lie, so he deliberately pretended to be a cover-up for his sister. That photo was just me and Chi Minjiao. My mother took the photo for me and Chi Minjiao photographed by you. After receiving the affirmation of Tianhaijuli, Sakakibara could only give up the intuition that came out of nowhere. So that's the case, then I must have been wrong. Tianhaijuli hesitated for a while, thinking that he should help a group of sisters. In addition, I want to tell my brother a special news. Chi Mingyu is actually Chi Minjiao's nickname. Calling her that way will make her appear particularly close. When calling a Japanese girl, usually you can only call her by her last name. Calling her by her first name will make the relationship appear very intimate. How to say it? In the Chinese context, it roughly means calling someone baby. It's okay for Sakakibara to call them Juliuli and Nanamage. If an outsider, especially a boy, calls someone Chi Minjiao, he will definitely be executed on the spot by someone with his eyes of 10,000 years of ice. Isn't the Chinese name for July? Yes, but here, it's her nickname. Didn't my brother notice it before? Usually my mother calls her July and July. What happens if you call her by her nickname? Brother, you can give it a try. Tianhaijuli smiled. Have dinner at the hotel. Men and women are separated, with boys in one room and girls in one. Separated to the left and right, there are curtains and corridors in the middle. Because it is an old-fashioned Japanese inn, everyone sits together, and it feels a bit like an izakaya. Because there were only boys, everyone's topics opened up a lot. Talk about everything from what type of breasts do you like, to have you had experience with a few girls. A shy boy was forced by his seniors to reveal his experiences with girls. Naturally, I was questioned continuously by a lot of boys. Are you feeling comfortable? After being questioned by a group of people until the end, the boy was forced to take out a bloody photo and a photo of his girlfriend, and showed them to everyone in a show-off manner. The girl in the photo is quite beautiful. She is a girl wearing a sailor uniform and black stockings. She is standing on the beach. Her thin legs under the skirt are very beautiful. Seeing those thin black legs, the other boys were naturally envious and started to boo. This makes everyone happy and has a more or less lemony flavor. Sakaki Hararaku didn't feel anything at all. What's wrong with being a virgin? Virgins are also proud. This is proof that you can still remain pure in a materialistic society. Sakakibara, have you had experience with girls? A senior who had a good relationship asked him. His voice was very low. No. How could that be? Your conditions don't look bad. I don't have the intention, mainly because I don't have enough time. Ah, that's right. You are third in the joint monthly test, and you focus mainly on your studies. I almost forgot. Besides, you haven't held hands with a girl, have you? Does it count with my sister? If you think about it carefully, before entering junior high school, Aling would always sleep with her arms in her arms. Sakaki Hararaku didn't speak, and the senior took it as acquiescence. He nodded to himself. Nothing is normal. Don't be sad. The same goes for seniors. Seniors are even worse. In a boys' school in junior high school, in the whole school, only the teacher is a girl. The aunt who cleans the house is a girl. I haven't talked to girls of the same age for 3 years. But even if I haven't touched them, I know that a girl's hands must be soft. It's very comfortable to hold them. Comes from the fantasy of a senior who hasn't spoken to a girl in 3 years. Sakaki Hararaku inexplicably saw such a sentence in his head. I want to fall in love with a beautiful girl. Sakakibara took the opportunity to ask him, Senior, do you like Minister Tenkai? The senior seemed to have been exposed, and was a little blushing. He said seriously, everyone likes Minister Tianhai. He is so beautiful, so cute, and a gentle young lady. but if she and I have any topics, we can only talk about it in Kyoto. Go up and ask her a question. Want to date? The senior coughed seriously. Who are you talking about who doesn't want to date? Everyone has had such fantasies. But fantasies can't come true. Nothing can compare to Minister Tianhai. How can we pursue her? No, even pursuing her I don't even have the qualifications, but if I can talk to her for a few words in the Kyoto club, I'm satisfied. The senior's face, which was hot and red due to eating, seemed a little more yearning. Hearing this, Sakakibara couldn't help but think of the details of playing games with her on Kuruori's bed a few days ago. Tianhai Julie Yulai is basically a duck sitting on the bed. She is wearing a home dress, her legs are very white, and her hair is very fragrant. I often teach myself how to play this character step by step, getting so close. Ahem. Sakakihara senpai, the senior patted him on the shoulder sincerely. In this noisy dinner, even if you and Minister Emamai go to the double archery competition this time, don't have any other thoughts about her. Why? There is no reason. Don't think that she has good feelings for you just because of a competition. If you are impulsive, go up and confess your feelings. Being rejected by the girl you like will make you lose confidence and make you sad to the point of doubting yourself. This is also the envy of everyone. Junior, you can be Minister Tianhai's partner, but you didn't fight for it. In short, there is nothing wrong with listening to senior's advice. Sakakihara Raku didn't think he had no chance. Senior is right. It's good to know. In addition, I would rather know what kind of boy can make Minister Tianhai like me. When the time comes, I will target that boy, and I believe there will be beautiful girls who will like me. The senior held his chopsticks and shook his head, having no intention of continuing. Forget it, let's eat. Eating suits me. The evening dish was tomato scrambled eggs, miso soup and pork cutlet rice. The taste can only be said to be okay. After a busy day, everyone enjoyed the food. But for a hotel stay, the atmosphere is adequate, but the food is still a bit unsatisfactory. You must know that in the past, staycations were all about big fish and meat, such as barbecue and grilled seafood. You can eat as much as you want. Everyone understands that the school deliberately lowered their travel expenses during this dormitory. How about we buy some barbecue tomorrow? Get some outdoor barbecue in the bamboo forest to eat? Good. This is good. I support it with 5 hands. There are creeks and pebbles next to the bamboo forest. The scenery is really great. If you want to have an outdoor barbecue on the lawn. The boys who were eating around a table couldn't help but fantasize, with longing looks on their faces. Kobayashi Anzai held his chopsticks in his hands and chewed the pork chop in his mouth quietly. He glanced at Hata Masahiro. It's a good idea, but are you going to pay for it? How will the purchased ingredients be distributed? The meal expenses will be shared equally. For those with small appetites, it's not fair for me, Junior, especially you guys who are the fastest to grab the meat. Seems like a problem. This is a big problem. Masahiro Hata scratched his head and took out his mobile phone. I'll ask Minister Tenkai if the funds for this trip are enough. Deputy Minister, you can go next door and ask, a boy cheered, smiling happily. Go, and ask if you can. As soon as you lift the curtain, all the girls in the archery department are looking at you, and then you have to ask Minister Tianhai a question without looking at you. Are you embarrassed? Girls will definitely guess their purpose, then cover their mouths and snicker. It's good to know. I'll ask on my phone. Hata Masahiro opened the line and found the contact information of Tianhai Jewelry. Except for Sakakibara Raku and Kobayashi Ansai who were eating quietly, all the boys looked at Hata Mahiro. How about it? Has Minister Tianhai replied to your letter? Say it quickly. Hey, why are you in a hurry? Hata Masahiro said. He sat cross-legged, holding the phone in his hands and raising it. Ah, I have it. What did the minister say? A boy came around behind Hata Masahiro. Don't worry. Masahiro Hata stared at the screen of his phone and read the reply sent to him by Amamai Kuruori. The money is managed by Mr. Sakahara. This time he made it clear that it can only be used if the practice goal is achieved. Everyone was immediately discouraged. That's it, a boy waved his hand. Yeah, those target exercises have to be practiced until the last day. How can we have a barbecue party? Masahiro Hata, there's more, Minister Tenkai still has information. What? What is it? Hata Masahiro read again. Minister Tianhai said, do you want to eat barbecue? Minister Tianhai doesn't want to pay for it himself, right? That won't work. That's right. How can you let Minister Tianhai spend money? Hata Masahiro conveyed everyone's wishes to Tianhai Jurili. And received a reply soon. It's okay, I'm treating everyone to a barbecue. I'll talk to Mr. Sakahara tomorrow and see if we can end the training early in the afternoon. It won't cost you too much, right? There are more than 20 people in the archery club. Not many. As Hata Masahiro read out the last message from Tianhai Jurili. When they learned that there would be another barbecue party tomorrow, the boys immediately became excited, clapped their hands on the table rhythmically, and cheered in unison. Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! The girl next door seemed to hear the movement in the boys' room opposite. What's going on over there? It seems to be calling the minister. Why are you so happy? I'll tell them to stop. A girl went next door and opened the curtain. Can you please be quiet? Why are you calling Minister Tianhai all the time? No one paid any attention to her. Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! Minister Tianhai! The girl looked at Raku Sakakibara, who was still eating calmly, and asked, possessed. Sakakihara held the chopsticks and bowl and shrugged, absolutely. It was 11 o'clock in the evening. After a busy day of training, everyone no longer had much energy to check their mobile phones. After taking a shower, most of them just lay down on the floor made in the morning. Sakakibara Raku also plans to recharge his batteries and get a good night's sleep. But before he slept for an hour, Sakakibara received a message. It's the 7th bright moon again. Tianhai Kaimingyu, come here. Why go there? Sakakihara narrowed his eyes and typed the answer. 7 bright moons in the sky and sea, picture. Sakakibara looked at the screen of his mobile phone, his eyes widened, and he got up from the floor of the boys' dormitory. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 107. The quiet night sky, the flickering street lights of moths, and the sound of stepping on gravel on the roadside. The Hotel Tenkai Kaimingyu booked was in the neighborhood next to the hotel, which is also a tourist street at the foot of Mount Fuji. It's still a few days away from July 1st, when the mountain opens, so this area is much quieter than usual. However, there are still a lot of various kinds of snacks on the terrace. Because many sports universities choose to stay nearby. It is early in the morning, and you can occasionally meet people running at night. What a hard effort. Sakakibara glanced at the figures passing by, then withdrew his gaze and followed the positioning information given to him by Nanami to find the hotel where they were staying. A Matsudaya hotel built against the mountain. Matsuda House is a high-end hotel. There is a courtyard, a pond, and unnamed dwarf pines at the entrance among the landscape rocks. Square lights were dotted next to the pool, emitting an orange-red glow. In the pool, there are occasionally 1 or 2 carp on the surface of the water, creating ripples under the moonlight and creating a thin moon shadow. Listening to the chirping of cicadas at night, Raku Sakakibara glanced at the name of Matsuda House at the entrance of the courtyard, walked inside, and began to walk into the ancient-style inn along the stones placed at intervals in the pool. Pushing open the wooden barrier door, the electronic lucky cat is holding gold coins and waving constantly. The lady at the front desk was playing with her cell phone. When she noticed someone coming in, she immediately took her cell phone back and said, "Welcome. How can I help you?" Sakakibara walked in and asked, "It's okay, I'm looking for someone, room 2-2. Room 2-2, the front desk lady immediately pointed in one direction, "For that location, please go to the second floor over there." "Thanks. Guests are welcome, please fill in an entry and exit record first. Not all customers of our store need to confirm the source and purpose. This is also for the safety of all guests." The receptionist took out the entry and exit record and a gel pen from under the counter. "I understand." After filling out the information, Sakakibara Raku wanted to go directly to Amami Nanamajetsu's room on the second floor. Unexpectedly, he turned around and saw Amami Nanamajetsu leisurely drinking tea in the hotel living room. Her waterfall-like flaxen hair was quite bright. He walked over and sat opposite the girl. After Tian Haikimingyu noticed that he was sitting down, he spoke first. "Brother, do you like that picture? Your legs just out of the bath look great. Did you take the photo?" Sakakihara couldn't help but ask, and lowered his voice unconsciously, "Is it you or Kuruori?" "Brother, didn't I tell you before? Every part of Chi Minjio's body is exactly the same as my sister's. So it doesn't matter whose it is." That must be Julie Yuli's. Chi Minjio actually secretly filmed her sister's legs after taking a shower. Although I know it's not a good thing to peek like this, Julie Yuli's legs are really long and beautiful. And that's even after taking a shower. Bare legs and feet with a little water droplets. Ahem. Tian Haikimingyu put down the tea in her hand and looked at him, "Then let's get down to business. Did your brother notice the difference in your sister today?" "Different? No. To be honest, Sakakihara Raku only knew that she took off an arrow today." Tian Haikimingyu didn't ask around the corner and said straight away, "Actually, my uncle called me today to tell me that my mother and father had a big fight at home." "Uncle and aunt had a fight? What's the reason?" "The reason is actually very simple. My mother wanted to find out our family's new address so that she could come over to visit my sister and me after get off work frequently. My brother you also knows that she has recently accepted a lot of business cooperation in Japan and will stay for a long time." Yes, Sakakibara nodded. "The only way to ask for the address is to ask my uncle. He is the new principal of our school. He can find out our home address by just checking the file. Of course, because the custody is in the hands of my father, my uncle also needs to ask." Dad's opinion. The seven bright moon in Tianhai paused for a second. "When my father learned that my mother wanted to bypass him to visit my sister and I, he immediately became angry and called my mother to ask, 'What on earth do you want to do?' That's what he asked at the time." Sakakihara thought seriously, "Go on." "Because my mother has long wanted to take my sister and me to Europe, no matter how my mother explains it, it is completely unworkable in my father's eyes. My mother has lost the trust she deserves from my father. Of course, because my mother went around asking for my address and wanted to visit us, they started to quarrel." Hearing this, Sakakibara asked curiously, "Uncle Tenkai, will you be angry?" The always steady Uncle Emami, this is the lawyer Emami in Raku Sakakibara's impression. Tian Haikimingyu held the teacup that exuded residual warmth with both hands and took a sip of the weak tea. "Of course my father's anger is not the anger of throwing things, smashing furniture, or hitting people. His anger is more like a threat. This is what he told my mother: the number of times you saw Julie Yuli and Chi Minjio during your stay in Tokyo, no more than twice, only with my consent, and not at home. No matter what, mothers have the right to see their children, right? Your mother will definitely be angry. My brother is right, and my father naturally knows this. He had no intention of stopping my mother from seeing my sister and me. However, what he was worried about was that my sister and I would run away to Europe with my mother because of some of her words. Tian Hai Kaimingyu continued, "Brother, don't look down on your mother's speaking skills. She is very good at speaking and moving people. I saw it before. My mother bypassed my father and wanted to visit my sister and me. My father limited the number of times she could see my sister and me. The distrust between the two parties coupled with the friction from the previous divorce. Naturally, the quarrel escalated and my father decided not to let my mother see us. My mother became even more dissatisfied that my father had too much control, the two of them quarreled more and more fiercely, and the situation escalated, and even my uncle knew about it." Nanami raised her eyes and looked at Sakakibara Raku. "In the end, my sister and I also knew." Sakakihara Raku said to her after being silent for a while, "So, the quarrel between uncle and aunt had a certain impact on Juriuri. How is Juliuli's mood now? How would she view this matter? My sister and I already talked when she was resting in the afternoon. As for her mood, brother, how do you think she is feeling now? It's bound to be uncomfortable, my parents are quarreling." Sakakihara Raku recalled the happy expression of Kururi chatting with her aunt on the day of the tea party. This shows that Juliuli likes her mother very much. In addition, Juliuli also respects his father. This is a harmonious family. How did the two sisters feel when their parents divorced? They both loved their father and mother clearly, but some things caused the family to separate. Juliuli must have been very sad at that time. "What's your sister's expression in front of your brother today?" Tianhai Chi Minjiao continued to ask calmly. "It's normal. There's no flaw in it." After Sakakibara finished speaking, he suddenly understood something. Tianhai Kaimingyu glanced at him and continued, "It seems that brother understands in his heart that sister actually likes to show the best side of herself to others. The purpose is not to let others worry about her. To a certain extent, brother, you and sister are exactly the same. That's not true. If I feel uncomfortable, I will definitely tell you." Tianhai Kaimingyu's delicate little face was expressionless. "Brother, that's what you do to ordinary people. But for family members, at least for Ling, brother, you wouldn't do that at all." Regarding this, Sakakihara Raku does not want to deny it. Indeed, if Ling did something willful, he would not be angry even if he felt uncomfortable. At most, as a brother, he would say a few words to her, half scolding and half joking. There are two reasons for this. The first reason is that Ling ran away from home when she was a child. The second reason is that Sakakibara knows that she is his family. Since she is a family member, there is no need to get angry over little things. And what if my sister is naughty in front of my brother? Isn't that normal? Sakakihara Raku usually thinks that this is the cute thing about being a younger sister. And her childish mentality of wanting to get attention from herself. To put it bluntly, if she hadn't been her brother, she wouldn't have bothered to tease herself. To Sakakihara Raku, the angelic face she showed to the outside world was a sign of alienation. Juliuli. If she were allowed to say anything, she would be willing to tell him anything. This is another big progress. When the time comes to confess your feelings, things will go much smoother. After thinking about this, Sakakibara turned around and looked at the moonlit night outside the hotel. Juliuli must be sleeping now. I'll find a chance to talk to Juliuli tomorrow. What can brother say? Not ready yet. Brother, are you going before you decide? Some things must depend on the situation. Some words can only be said face to face. Thinking about it in advance will be useless. So, after my brother heard about this, the first thing he thought of was to comfort his sister, Tian Haikaimingu seemed to be staring at him. Let's not talk about comfort. It would be nice to talk to her. Sakakibara inexplicably remembered what Jurulai had said to her before: if her brother felt uncomfortable in any way, he could talk to her at any time. Sakakibara crossed his fingers with his hands and stared at the table. Actually, as a human being, no matter who we are, we hope that there is someone in this world who can understand us. With him, we can talk to each other, have fun, work hard together, and be together. Facing life, being able to share the feelings in life together. Julie Yulai, I like her, and I also hope that I can become the kind of person I said, in her mind. Tian Haikaimingu continued, however, brother has not fully recognized sister yet. Well, Raku Sakakihara nodded, agreeing with what Nanamijiyo said, so, I would like to know more about her. Getting along with her more in life is a way, and passing you through Nanamijiyo is also a way. Thank you Nanamijiyo today. Make an appointment with me alone to talk about this matter. It's just an agreement, and I don't want my sister to keep everything in her heart. Although I can comfort her, as a sister, my verbal power is limited, and I am not someone she can completely rely on. Sakakibara Raku, but you and Kuruori have a very good relationship. They should be people who can rely on each other. Tian Haikaimingu was non-committal. My sister completely trusts me, but she is still my sister. My brother should understand the meaning of the identity of sister, right? Sakakibara thought for a moment. It's like a situation where Juliuli is injured, but he won't say it and doesn't want you to worry. Brother, you actually got the answer right. Tian Haikaimingu was exaggeratedly surprised, an expression that was completely staged on purpose. Hey, something's wrong. What do you mean you got the answer right? Chi Minjiu has always thought that my brother is a man with low emotional intelligence. Sakakibara couldn't help but said, it's not low at all, okay. Brother, you can think so. Okay, since Nanamijiu thinks so, then let's think so. It's getting late, I should go back to sleep. After saying this, Sakakihara put his hands on his legs and prepared to get up and leave the hotel. Brother, wait a moment. How? Brother, do you think Chi Minjiu called you here just to talk about this matter? Huh? What if? You can also talk about sister's matters on the phone. Of course there is a second reason for calling you over. Since there is still something else to do, let's talk about it quickly. I'm busy going back to sleep. Sakakibara yawned. After practicing for a day, not only was he physically tired, but his spirit couldn't bear it either. Brother, I'm afraid I won't be able to go back today. My sister Chan barely ate much at night. What's wrong? Sakakibara asked. I randomly ordered some beef rice on the street in the evening. My sister Chan lost her appetite after just 2 bites. You two girls are going to eat beef rice. Tian Haikaimingu, I ordered ramen. So Aling didn't eat at night. Correction, I took 2 bites. Is this detail important? Sakakihara Raku's head is full of black lines. Why don't you eat? Didn't she enjoy the noodles for lunch? She said it didn't taste good and she lost her appetite after 2 bites. When Amami Nanamijiu said this, she kept looking at Sakakibara Raku. It's basically reminding him that Sister Chan seems to only eat what you cook now. As a man with top emotional intelligence, Sakakihara Raku could see the hidden meaning in her eyes at a glance. He also indirectly understood the second purpose of her calling him over. Persuade Aling to eat or make a meal for her. She really doesn't want to eat? I don't want to eat it at all, that's what Sister Chan answered me anyway. Tian Haikaimingu sat upright on the chair. Brother, you also need to understand that I can't persuade her, and I might get annoyed by her if I talk too much. After all, you just had a small quarrel at noon. Okay, I'll make her something to eat before we leave. Brother agreed so easily. You still help others cook in the early hours of the morning. You really dote on your sister. Tian Haikiming's tone was still calm, but there seemed to be some emotion hidden in it. Cooking is just a trivial matter. If you go over to persuade her with something to eat, she might still have no appetite and won't eat. It would be more convincing to cook her favorite dishes in person and bring them to her. She will have to eat even if she doesn't want to eat. Sakakibara stood up and said, glancing at the store clerk who was still playing with her mobile phone, I'm going to ask if there is a place where I can borrow it. Tian Haikiming sat where she was, looking at his back as he approached the front desk of the hotel to inquire, and murmured to himself. It's early in the morning, and it's not unreasonable for a brother-in-law to cook her favorite dishes and eat Sister Chan. More updates tomorrow. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 108. After Sakakibara borrowed the kitchen, he opened the refrigerator and glanced at the ingredients inside. Tian Haikiming, I'm going back first. Sakakibara closed the refrigerator door, turned around and shouted to Nanami Mingzuki. Chi Minjiao, wait a moment. What? Tian Haikiming's tone was calm and a little cold. I remember, you brought potato chips here, right? So what? Sakakihara met her eyes and smiled, you know what I mean. Tian Haikiming's expression remained calm, I didn't ask you to make me something to eat. So I'm asking you. How about some midnight snacks? The hotel's kitchen has quite a complete range of ingredients, and the store also said we can use them as we like. Tian Haikiming suddenly stopped talking. The air was so quiet that you could even hear the cicadas chirping outside. Brother, for what purpose do you want to make me a midnight snack? Please. Please. Just trying to please you. Sakakibara kept smiling. He knew that Chi Minjiao had a little self-esteem, that is, she couldn't let go of her so-called airs. If it was said that it was for comfort, Sakakihara Raku estimated that little Kyo would probably not accept it. Chi Minjiao should also feel a little uncomfortable about her parents' quarrel. It's just that she will be buried deeper than Julie Yulai, so deep that it is almost impossible to feel it. The air was silent for a while. Tian Haikiming finally said in a helpless tone. Okay then. Since it's something that is convenient for my brother, it doesn't hurt if I agree to it a little bit. Oh? Reluctantly. Isn't it Chi Minjiao that you also want to have some midnight snacks? I can only say it's a little bit, but it's not necessary to eat it yet. Tian Haikiming touched her lips lightly for a moment, then raised her head and said to him, I'll get the potato chips. Well, go ahead, I'll be busy first. Hungry, so hungry. Boom boom. A clean knock on the door. Sakakibara Suzu, who was so hungry that she had no energy, put down her phone and walked out of bed. She walked on her slender white legs and opened the door with a yawn. Tian Haikiming stood outside. Does it take that long to drink tea? I have something to do at the moment. Sister Chan, are you still hungry? I'm hungry, why aren't I hungry? I'm almost starving to death. But I have no appetite at all for that beef rice. I'd rather be hungry. Where's the ramen? How could I have any appetite at that time? So I regret it now, Tian Haikiming said. Amamai Nanamajetsu walked into the room, and Sakakibara Suzu watched her open her suitcase and take out a few bags of potato chips. Sakakihara Suzu's eyes fell on her potato chips, locked tightly, and moved her head along with the potato chips. How about you share this with me? Tian Haikiming stopped her movements instantly, half closed her eyes, and looked at her coldly, like a seabird guarding its food. Sakakihara Suzu turned her head and muttered, No, I won't give it if you don't give it. Why are you looking at me like that? Tian Haikiming closed the suitcase, it's okay to give it to you. Just call me sister and I will give it to you. Sakakibara Suzu was so angry that she wanted to stamp her feet. How can you threaten your sister with food? Isn't this normal? This is not normal. So Tianhai Chi Minjiao took a pack of Pringles potato chips and placed them in front of her. What is Sister Chan's choice? Potato chips. Sakaki Harasuzu touched her belly with one hand, and her eyes kept jumping. This went on for several times. She couldn't bear to turn her head, but her eyes finally moved back and locked on the bag of potato chips sideways. The bag of Pringles seemed to be getting bigger and bigger in her eyes. Sakaki Harasuzu's throat visibly rolled. Finally, she couldn't hold it back anymore, grabbed the potato chips and held them in her arms. Just for a moment. Yes, Tianhai Chi Minjiao put down her hand and waited for her. Ahem. Suzu Sakaki Hara cleared her throat specifically, lowered her head, and shouted with a blushing face, "Sister. The voice is too low. Sister." Nanamajetsu. Sister Sakaki Suzu blushed and shouted again to the upright-faced Amamai Nanamajetsu, leaving a very embarrassed look at the end. "Okay, this is okay. Well, Sister Chan is good. Be good. Why are you so good? I'm not a child anymore, and you're only a few months older than me," Suzu Sakaki Hara muttered and repeated in a daze, and then couldn't help but emphasize it to her. "Well, no matter how much I try to hide it now, Sister Chan, it can't change the fact that you call me sister." Tianhai Kaimingyu nodded while holding her chin. "Well, it feels good to be called sister." Tianhai Kaimingyu stared at her head. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Sakaki Harasuzu put her head in her hands. "Because I suddenly had the idea of touching your head." "Touch your head? No, no, no. No, you can't touch your head casually. If you touch it, you won't grow. Sister Chan is a few centimeters shorter than me and my sister," and Tianhai Kaimingyu looked at her ordinary breasts. Sakaki Harasuzu crossed her shoulders with her hands and said angrily, Where are you looking at?" "It's nothing, I was just thinking that it would be a lot more convenient if I didn't have breasts. For example, I don't have to wear bras or bras." Amamai Nanamajetsu noticed that Sakaki Suzu's expression was getting more and more strange, and immediately declared, "I definitely didn't mean to laugh at my sister Chan's flat chest." Sakaki Harasuzu had looked at her flat chest several times, and then looked at the curves of Nanamijayu's chest. Tianhai Kaimingyu, "Okay, I want to go out again." "What are you going out for?" "Brother heard that you didn't have dinner, so he came here to cook for you." I'll be back later." Tenkai Nanamayu disappeared. Sakaki Suzu looked at the door where she disappeared, then looked at the Pringles potato chips in her hand, and murmured to herself, "Brother is here, so, was this shouting just in vain?" Sakaki Suzu thought carefully for a while and suddenly realized. Chi Minjiao just deliberately tricked herself into calling her sister. Yeah, it's too abominable. Half an hour later. Sakaki Suzu lay on the bed, beating the pillow with both hands. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Sakaki put the prepared supper on the small table in the hotel, turned around and looked at his sister who was hammering the pillow and shaking her legs on the big bed. "Aren't you hungry? I heard Chi Minjiao say that you are so hungry that you have no energy." "No, this doesn't look like it." "Hungry? Why aren't you hungry?" Sakaki Suzu directly picked up the pillow, sat on the bed, and looked at her brother with a pouty face. She was wearing shorts, with most of her legs exposed. "Aling is at home." No, it should be said in private, it is so casual, clothes and pants can be thrown around, as long as the pants are comfortable to wear when sleeping at night. "After taking a shower, I also like to come out barefoot on the floor. Since you're hungry, come and eat." Sakaki Suzu blinked at him. "You came here specially to get it for me? Walk half an hour." "I came here wandering around, and Chi Minjiao suddenly said how can you not eat without eating, so I came over and made you a portion." "That's it, but brother, you are becoming more and more like my mother." You can say such motherly words as how can you not eat. Sakakibara Suzu pinched the down pillow on her legs and used the he said with a little emotion in his tone. This is the truth. Do you think you are hungry at night? You will suffer if you don't eat at night. That's because that beef rice is really unpalatable. It's not as delicious as the one you made, brother. Oh, Suzu is praising me, Sakakihara smiled. Snort. Sakakihara Suzu didn't speak anymore, but slowly got out of the bed, came to the small table against the wall, pulled over the hotel stool and sat down. Then she stared blankly at the steaming beef curry rice in front of her. What's wrong? The taste is very fragrant, much more fragrant than the beef rice I had in the afternoon. Well, let's eat quickly. Sakakihara Suzu glanced at the late night outside, and then at the 1:34 on the hotel clock. So she turned her head sideways, her eyes illuminated by the orange light from the ceiling shining brightly, reflecting Sakakihara Raku's appearance. Sometimes I still think it's good to have a brother. Sakakibara Rakia also met his sister's eyes. Her eyes have been beautiful since she was little, especially when she stares at herself like this. Instead, he was embarrassed by this sudden feeling. What's this? Because no one would cook someone else's favorite food in the middle of the night. Handling the ingredients and cooking are all very troublesome. Oh. It seems that Suzu learned a lot from the last cooking class, Raku Sakakihara said with a relaxed smile. Sakakihara Suzu did not answer directly, but withdrew her gaze and looked at the plate of beef curry rice in front of her again. She took a small bite. I don't know why. Anyway, I always feel that the food you cook recently is getting more and more delicious. This shows that your brother's level is steadily improving. Sakakihara was very happy to see that his sister was willing to eat. Sakakihara Suzu lowered her head. So, brother, you can stay in Tokyo from now on. Sakakibara was stunned for a moment. Do you still mind that I said I'm going to Kyoto University? After all, we have been in the same home for 15 years. Although I don't like you very much, brother. But, if you suddenly say that we want to separate in the future, I still dash. Tian Haikimingyu walked out of the bathroom of the hotel room. The first thing she saw when she came out was the twinkling look in Aling's eyes. She tilted her head slightly and said, it seems that I came out at the wrong time. What is my sister Chan discussing with my brother? Sakakihara Raku said after being silent for a while, it's nothing, it's just that I told her before that I have the intention to go to Kyoto University after graduation. Brother, are you planning to go to Beijing University for college? Yes, I have intention. Amamai Nanamajetsu glanced at Sakakibara Suzu who was immersed in eating, so my sister Chan is persuading my brother to stay in Tokyo. That's true. In this case, Sister Chan is reluctant to let her brother leave, so there's nothing wrong with following him to Kyoto and getting admitted to the same school. Most of Sister Chan's jobs are in Tokyo. Sakakihara interrupted the topic, okay, it's still early. It's too early to say anything now. It doesn't mean much. Okay, brother, if you don't want to talk, just don't talk. Well, anyway, I've finished the dishes for you, and it's time for me to go back to the dormitory. After breakfast tomorrow morning, I have to meet on time at 9 o'clock. Sakakibara yawned and waved his hand, preparing to go back to the dormitory. Tian Haikimingyu glanced at the dark night outside the window. It's this time, brother, you still plan to go back? Don't you want to stay? Stop it, it won't be a good idea to leave me here. Besides, where will I sleep? Sakakihara glanced at the only big bed in the hotel. Sleep on the floor, and there are spare quilts and sheets in the hotel closet. No need. Brother, I think you should think about it carefully. It will take half an hour to walk back from here, right? It's already 1:30, and it'll be around 2 o'clock when we get home. You'll have to get up in a few hours. You might as well sleep here. Chi Minjiu is right. It is indeed better to sleep on the spot. And he was so sleepy now that he walked back half an hour at night despite his drowsiness. Ha! Just thinking about it makes me yawn. Sakakibara Suzu, who was having a late night snack, also interrupted at this time. It's okay to stay. Now that the two sisters had said so, Sakakibara thought it would be troublesome to go back even though he was dozing off, so he agreed. Okay, I'll stay and sleep. After Aling and Chi Minjiu finished their supper, Chi Minjiu hadn't washed up yet. She was going to take a bath before going to bed. Sakakihara took advantage of this time to quickly prepare the floor. The hotel bathroom, I don't know what the designer thought, made it particularly ambiguous. It's the kind of blurred glass used as a wall between bathrooms. The light inside can shine through, and you can hear the sound of bathing water and see some shadows. The shadow of Kaimingyu is very slender, with lines that should be up and down. It is hazy and mixed with the sound of bathing water. It is difficult for people outside to avoid being delusional. Sakakibara didn't know whether Nanami noticed it when he went in to take a bath. Anyway, both he and Suzu noticed it. Don't look, Sakakihara. Suzu blushed and sat cross-legged on the bed to look at him. Ahem. I just accidentally glanced at it. Brother, can you be more serious? No matter what you say, Chi Minjiu is also your sister. Why am I not serious? First of all, I have to explain that it is force majeure, okay? I was taking care of the floor just now, and I saw it accidentally. Half of Sakakihara Suzu-chan's face was buried in the pillow she held on her chest. She looked particularly small and cute like this. I used to catch a glimpse of you looking at those weird photos on your phone, brother. Brother H. My name is Appreciating Beauty. Appreciating beauty, admiring photo albums. And you especially like to stare at legs. Photo albums are both beautiful and beautiful. This is called human body beauty. Raku Sakakihara said these words bravely. Sakakihara Suzu's eyes were filled with disgust, and she said in a deliberately low voice, brother is indeed a prude. Raku Sakakibara couldn't help it anymore. He sat on the floor and argued to Raku Sakakibara on the bed. Adolescent boys who haven't seen pictures of beautiful girls are abnormal, okay. Then what type do you like? Long legs? Cute style? Or full of energy? What do you usually pay attention to when looking at girls? At this time, Sakakibara was stunned. Let me tell you, there are some things that are not easy to discuss between brothers and sisters. There's nothing bad to talk about. I just like handsome guys. I also like beautiful girls. Who doesn't like handsome and beautiful ones? Why are you sitting here? Sakakibara suddenly noticed that Suzu was holding a pillow and sitting next to him, very close to her. Let's talk. What kind of girl does bro like? Sakakihara Suzu said with curiosity in her tone. Cute. Cute style. Don't interrupt me. Cuteness is one of them. Of course, beauty is also very important. Don't call me vulgar. Who doesn't like beautiful people? In the end, character is the best. The one who is considerate is the best. Sakakihara Raku said very carefully, trying not to express his impression of Juliuli. If I am liked by my brother, that girl should also be very happy. Huh? Why do you say that? Because you are very good at taking care of others. I am definitely not complimenting you. It's just that you are better at taking care of others than other boys. Other boys are either frivolous or too timid and can't even say a few words. Sakakibara laughed and said, why are you so arrogant all of a sudden? If you want to praise me, just praise me. I praise you because I'm afraid you'll get carried away. Obviously the one who is most proud of you is Aling, right? You often say to me, if the angel is not beautiful, who is beautiful? I am the invincible beautiful girl. That's what I am. You must be an idiot. Lele, you are so annoying. You called me stupid again. Sakakihara Suzu blushed and smashed the pillow she was holding into his arms. Sakakihara took over her attack smoothly. I haven't settled the account of you calling me Lele, Lele, Lele every day. Why are you calling me like that? I'm your brother. A little bit. Sakakihara Suzu pinched the flesh on her face. I have to call you Lele, and only I can call you Lele. What are you doing? I'm not your private property. Sakakihara pinched her fleshy face angrily. Oh, 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 it hurts, don't pull it, I'm your sister. Not even my own sister. There is one more chapter that needs to be coded late at night. No need to wait for everyone. Come back in the morning. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 109. Idiot Aling. Why do you keep saying I'm stupid? Stop making fun of me. It's going to break. Do you know it hurts now? How can I be an idol in the future if my face is crushed by you? You want to be an idol? Sakakihara let go of her fleshy face. To be honest, the little bun felt quite good when pinched. He used to like to rub Aling's face repeatedly. Oh, it's not that I want to be a voice actor, but this is the right path for me to become a voice actor idol. That's right. Your conditions are not bad. If you work hard, you should be able to become famous. Being famous also depends on luck and good looks. As for my sister, I'm perfect. Suzu Sakakihara raised her chin and put her hands on her hips. Sakakibara laughed at her. Your foxtail is wagging to the sky. Humph, this is a fact. If I can't survive in the future, come to me. As a younger sister, I will still appreciate the love between brother and sister. You want to keep me. More than that, I have to let Lele cook and wash clothes for me for the rest of my life. Sakakibara said with disdain, the stinky spirit I learned there, your character is too stinky, you idiot Suzu. You scolded me again. Sakakibara Suzu became angry, snatched the pillow back from his hand, and said with a sigh of relief, don't call me stupid. So what? I'll bite you if I say so. Idiot, let me go. You are really biting. Let go. Sakakibara stared at the tooth marks on his arm, lost in thought. It doesn't hurt at all, it just feels a little subtle. Bite people randomly, it's very dirty. Bot, who bit him randomly, and I didn't even say it was dirty. Suzu Sakakihara suddenly hugged her head, crouched down, and let out a painful whimper in her throat. It hurts. Sakakibara withdrew his anger. It hurts. If it hurts, restrain yourself. Sakakihara Suzu kept whimpering, her head lowering lower and lower. Isn't it because I'm being too harsh? Sakakibara quickly showed a concerned look. Are you okay? Pain. Sorry, I just wanted you not to bite me. I didn't mean to hit you. Ha! Let's see what Stinky Lele does. When he reached out to care for her, Sakakihara Suzu swooped down and knocked him over. Don't tell me, she is quite strong. Don't call me stupid. Sakakihara Suzu crossed her legs and sat on him, then she puffed her face and bit his arm again. I'll go. You want to bite me again? Sakakibara, who was lying on the floor, grabbed a pillow and threw it in her face. With a sound, Sakakihara Suzu's face sank into the pillow. Dong dong. Tian Haikiming Yu, who had a white towel wrapped around her head and a bath towel covering her chest with one hand, poked her head out of the glass door of the bathroom and happened to see the scene. Suzu was riding on Sakakibara's lap, and Sakakibara pressed a pillow against her face. Oh, brother and sister Chan have such a good relationship. Sakakihara turned his head and spotted her. Although Nanamagetsu's look was quite different with her hair tied up just after taking a shower, Sakakihara had no time to appreciate it now and said with a grimace, "Don't get me wrong, it's this girl who wants to bite me. My brother must have said something to make my sister angry. Just call her an idiot. Don't call me stupid. I'll bite you." Sakakihara Suzu took the pillow away, but unfortunately, Sakakihara Raku quickly found the opportunity and blocked her face with another pillow. "Tian Hikiming, idiots don't like being called idiots, because it's the truth. Nana Mingzuki, have you finished washing?" Sakakihara Raku. "No, I don't like the shower gel provided by the hotel. I came out to get my own, which is in the suitcase. How about I help you get it?" Tian Hikiming tilted her head slightly and said, "I don't mind this." After finding an excuse to escape, Sakakibara immediately relieved himself and stood up from the floor. Sakakihara Suzu's head and pillow fell down smoothly. "Bad Lele. Bullying again. Calling me stupid again." She started beating the pillow. Sakakihara ignored her and quickly found Nanamayu's shower gel in the suitcase. During the process, he also saw a pile of neatly stacked clothes in her suitcase: skirts, shirts, stockings, bows, and breast protectors. Ahem. It's not a good thing to look at a girl's clothes casually. Sakakibara got the shower gel and walked over and handed it to Nanami Mingzuki. "Give." Smelly Lele Sakakihara Suzu, with messy hair, hugged the pillow and looked at the brother in front of her angrily. Tian Hikiming glanced at her younger sister Zhang, who was looking angrily. The expression on the face has returned to nothingness. "Thank you, brother, and in return. Repay? What reward?" Sakakihara was confused. Tian Hikiming lost her voice when she said this, but her mouth was still moving. At this moment, Tian Hikiming held the bath towel that barely covered her chest with one hand, and stepped on the wet floor tiles with her bare feet. She seemed to be letting go of the hand holding the white bath towel while speaking silently. "What?" Sakakihara couldn't hear her voice clearly, but he could clearly see the shape of her mouth. Translated, in return, brother, would you like to take a look inside? Just like my sister Tian Hikiming, who is a model of pure and beautiful girls, added in a low voice, preparing to relax the hand holding the bath towel. Since she was taking a shower just now, there was no need to explain what was going on with the clothes inside. Coupled with the hazy figure of her taking a bath alone in the bathroom just now, the vague lines would be a lie if she said she didn't feel anything. The moment when Nanami's bath towel came loose and seemed about to slide off, Sakakibara was so frightened that she quickly closed the bathroom door. Little devil. It is indeed a little devil. In order to make a fool of herself in front of Aling, she even went so far as to joke. "Aren't you afraid that you will actually see it? Horrible, terrible." Sakakibara quickly calmed down and walked back to his bed. Sakakihara Suzu kept staring at him and asked, "Brother, did you see something just now? Did you see anything?" "Nothing." "Then why were you stunned for a moment and anxious to close the door?" Suzu Sakakihara put her hands between her legs and leaned towards him, full of suspicion. "I really didn't see much. At most, I saw Chi Minjia wearing a bathrobe." "Oh? Then, it looks good, right? Chi Minjia's figure is pretty good, right? This is simply a question of the death of my sister." Sakakibara said with shame, "It looks good, but I don't know what to think." "Don't get your face so close. Humph, go to sleep. Go and watch your Naniming. See if she will show it to you." Sakakibara Suzu lay down directly on Sakakibara Raku's floor, hugged the pillow and closed her eyes. "Sakakihara Raku, how did you know she wanted to show it to me? You want to sleep with me again? Your bed belongs to me." Sakakihara Suzu buried her head in the pillow and said. "Then where should I sleep?" Sakakibara smiled knowing that she had a jealous temper. Go to the couch. The hotel's sofa is a single sofa and cannot be slept on. Then go to bed and sleep. Anyway, your bed is what I want. Sakakibara Suzu hugged the pillow, turned her body sideways, and muttered with a jealousy. Want to sleep in your place on the bed? Then I'll sleep with Chi Minjio all night. No. Sakakibara Suzu quickly stood up and lay back on the bed. She is a bad woman. You are also a bad sister. I'm a good sister. I even bought you a mobile phone. Well, thank you Aling for being the first to think of me after getting your salary. After a long night of tossing, Sakakibara Raku really had no energy left and yawned repeatedly. I really can't do it anymore. I won't play with you anymore. Good night. After that, lie down directly. Huh? Did you really fall asleep? Dot. Dot. Sakakibara Raku, who closed his eyes, was very peaceful and did not reply. It seemed that he had really fallen asleep, and Sakakibara Suzu didn't want to disturb him, although he didn't seem to be very sleepy yet. She put the pillow away, lay on the bed, and stared at the ceiling of the hotel in a daze. I don't know what I'm thinking about. Not long after, Tianhai Kaimingyu changed into her shark pajamas and left the bathroom. Brother is asleep. Yes, Suzu. Sakakibara responded dully. Then you should go to bed earlier. Go to bed early, don't stay up late, and don't think too much. Why does it sound like coaxing to a child? Because I am Sister Chan's sister. Tianhai Kaimingyu turned off the headlight in the bedroom, sat on the bed, combed her beautiful long hair, and prepared to lie down and sleep. Suzu. Sakakibara asked curiously, don't you need to tie up your hair so long? No, my hair is of good quality. It won't be too messy after one night's sleep. You can just take care of it the next day. Amami Nanamayuki looked at Sakakibara Suzu's short hair. Do you want me to tie it into a braid for you tomorrow? Ah. Can I be pierced at this length? Okay, it can be tied up nicely. I just need to tie a small tie on the other side of your hair. Oh, but why do you need to pierce me? This is your responsibility as a sister. When Suzu Sakakibara heard her calling herself her sister, she pouted and said, you just lied to me. Really? It was Sister Chan who asked for potato chips. Sister Chan just asked for the corresponding reward. You clearly knew that my brother was cooking food in the kitchen below, but you still used potato chips to trick me into calling you sister. This is what my Sister Chan was willing to pay for. How can you describe it as cheating? There's still something to do at noon. Well, Sister Chan is still angry. Bad woman. Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't mind, and said calmly, if you want to shout, it should be the bad sister. She patted the edge of the pillow and said, come here and sleep. Sakakibara Suzu crossed her arms and was very wary. What do you want to do again? I let you rub enough last time. I just want to care about my sister as an older sister. I won't give in again. This time we draw a line in the middle. You can't cross this line while sleeping. Real? Really? No matter what you say, I will never cross this line, Sakakibara Suzu said, pointing to the middle position. Tianhai Kaimingyu only glanced at the false line, continued to pat the pillow, and said, come here, I will tell you what kind of girls your brother likes. True or false? Do you know? Sakakibara Suzu, who was kneeling on the bed, immediately moved closer, her knees just pressing on that line. After all, my brother is also a boy. I usually observe some details in the literature club, and I can also ask about some things from my sister. Then tell me quickly, tell me quickly. Dot. Tianhai Kaimingyu still slapped the pillow. Sakakibara Suzu hesitated for a while, then reluctantly lay down opposite her. The two of them were very close to each other, their foreheads almost touching. But Nanami seemed to think that this was not close enough, and directly pressed against Sakakibara Suzu's face. "It's so itchy. Why are you rubbing me if it's itchy? Don't you feel comfortable on your face, Sister-chan?" Nanami stretched out her hand and put it on Sakakibara Suzu's waist without her being aware of it. Sakakibara Suzu's face quickly turned red. The bedside lamp went out and the two girls whispered. "It's really itchy. Sister-chan is so cute like this. What does this have to do with cuteness? Stop it, stop it. It's just rubbing your face. My sister and I often do this too. Hey, do you often sleep like this?" "Well, compared to my elder sister, Sister-chan is a little more stable." What? You'd better hurry up and tell me about the girl I like." Brother is a very dishonest person." "Well, I can see it," Sakakibara Suzu said. "You say you don't like it, but you feel it in your heart." Yes. He often jokes and teases me. I asked him before if he would share something with his sister who was very hungry. He said he wouldn't and that he would wait until he was full. But that's the real situation. Very different, right? Sister-chan is a tsundere, and my brother is also a tsundere. I'm not arrogant. Brother, actually he can't help but girls who act coquettishly towards him. Really? It feels like he doesn't have any reaction to this. Sister-chan was confused by his brother and forgot what I just said. His appearance is completely different from his heart. When a girl acts coquettishly towards him, he is actually happy in his heart. It is as expected. Okay, that's the end of the chat. Sister-chan, go to bed. Just slept. Go to sleep, brother has gone to bed long ago. Oh well. After lying down for 10 minutes, Sakakibara Suzu fell into a deep sleep. Nanami got up and went to Sakakibara Raku's bed to lie down. She put her head on his pillow, stared at his sleeping face, and said, "Brother, you haven't slept yet." "I slept." "Oh, brother is asleep." Sakakibara moved outward. Tian Hikimingyu put a palm under her face and looked at him with her sky-blue eyes. "Brother, why are you avoiding me? Men and women are not allowed to be intimate. What if the person sleeping next to my brother is my sister? If she doesn't agree, I won't get close. Brother is really a good person." "Yeah, so, Chi Minjio, why are you here? I want to sleep with you." "Stop joking, okay, go to bed quickly," Sakakibara said. Just as he said, Tian Hikimingyu got up again and returned to the big bed in the hotel. For a moment, Sakakibara Raku was confused about her purpose. She suddenly came down just to tease him. Sakakibara actually had another conjecture in his mind, but he wouldn't believe it, and he didn't want to believe it. According to common sense, Chi Minjio just wanted to tease herself. That must be the case. Then, good night, brother. Okay, good night. After struggling for more than 10 minutes, Sakakibara chose to close his eyes. Amami Nanamijetsu opened her eyes again, looked calmly at Sakakibara Suzu, who was sleeping peacefully across from her, and said quietly, "It's a good thing not to know. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple." Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 110. At 7 o'clock in the morning on the second day of the overnight stay, Sakakibara struggled to push himself up while half asleep. He put on the hotel's disposable slippers, yawned with his right hand, walked to the window, and opened the gauze curtain. Whoa, suddenly, light shines through. Sakakibara closed his eyes subconsciously. After his eyes adjusted to the bright light in the morning, he saw the scene in front of him. Outside, Verdant green plants and pools complement each other. Birds are chirping on the branches, and carp are making sparkling ripples on the water. The location of this room is very good, and the air is very cool. Sakakibara put his hands on the edge of the bed, took a breath of the cold air outside, and relaxed his mind. He couldn't help but imagine that weather like this was perfect for going out for a long run of several kilometers. Breaking in the cold air, running in the quiet forest, you can clearly see the new buds and the falling dewdrops. Very nice. Unfortunately, that's not possible now. I have to make breakfast for my two sisters. Sakakibara calmed down his thoughts of flying to the blue sky, turned around, and saw the two girls still sleeping on the bed. Tianhai Kaimingyu's sleeping posture is very upright, in line with her usual slim temperament. Sakaki Harasuzu was holding her, with his face on her shoulder, one leg draped over her body, and the quilt was half open. The movements are very intimate, like good sisters. Didn't the two of them quarrel at noon yesterday? Reconciled in the blink of an eye? Maybe girls' feelings are just so weird. While they were sleeping, Sakakibara went to the place where dinner was cooked yesterday and spent half an hour preparing 3 bowls of ramen. When I came out with my lunch box containing ramen, I met the front desk lady who was working the night shift yesterday. She lowered her head and said hello professionally. Mr. Sakakibara. Sakakibara felt a little embarrassed to be occupying the hotel's resources like this, and he happened to be bumped into, so he had to smile awkwardly. Sorry for using the things in your store like this again, but I have cleaned up everything in the kitchen. Ah, the lady at the front desk didn't expect that he would apologize to her, and waved her hands repeatedly. It's okay. The store manager informed me last night. The things in the store are at your disposal, Mr. Sakakibara. Now it was Raku Sakakibara's turn to be confused. Logically speaking, in a regular high-end hotel with a pool and hot spring, the procedures in the hotel should be very formal, and they would not randomly lend things to guests. Seemingly sensing his doubts, the receptionist smiled and explained. Before Miss Tenkai came here, the store manager specifically asked me to try my best to meet Miss Tenkai's requirements. And last night, Mr. Sakakibara, before you came, Miss Tenkai also informed me in advance, there will be one soon. If someone named Sakakibara comes, if he needs to borrow anything, you can lend it to him. You called her, Miss Tianhai. The store manager asked me to call him that, Mr. Sakakibara. The receptionist said, I guess Miss Tenkai is the child of an acquaintance of the store manager. Girls with that kind of temperament can tell the difference at a glance. I also think she has some connection with the owner of the store. The front desk lady smiled and nodded to Sakakibara. Raku, if Mr. Sakakibara has no other questions, I will go down and rest first. There will be someone else at the front desk to take over. You can ask her if necessary. Oh, well, I don't have any more questions. The lady at the front desk lowered her head to say goodbye, and walked towards the pinewood stairs of the hotel with a sleepy look on her face. Apparently he worked the night shift and didn't sleep well. Raku Sakakibara left the kitchen and came to the front desk, looking around at the antique-style decoration of the hotel, but with some modern elements. This looks like a high-end hotel where wealthy people would stay. Even the shop assistants and store managers call Chi Minjia Miss Tianhai. Without thinking, you can understand that this store is more or less related to the Tianhai family. No wonder he borrowed the kitchen so easily yesterday. He had prepared a lot of words to convince the front desk lady. Unexpectedly, Chi Minjia was secretly helping. Speaking of which, it was very sudden that he and Julie Yulai were appointed by the school to participate in the mixed doubles competition. Thinking about it afterwards, he felt even more strange. Could it be that Chi Minjia was secretly helping in all of this? Sakakibara stopped in front of the wooden stairs. While carrying the lunch box, he took out his mobile phone and found the phone number of Tachibana Kiyohara that he had left before. He pressed the dial button. After 3 beeps, the call was connected. Principal Tachibana. Oh. It turns out to be Xiao Li. You don't need to see anyone outside. It's okay for them to call me uncle after Chiyu. Even if they get divorced, they are still my nieces. As their brother, it's okay for you to call me uncle. It's too much to call me the principal in private. A little bit raw. Then I'll just call you uncle. Yeah. What's the matter with Xiaoliu calling so early? Is it a problem with the shared accommodation? Or is there something unreasonable about the shared accommodation? It's not about sharing the dormitory, but I want to ask about the mixed men's and women's doubles competition. Sakaki Hararaku didn't say everything, but Tachibana Kiyohara on the other end of the phone seemed to have understood what he meant. Xiao Li wants to ask why the school selected you and Li Yulai to participate in the competition alone, right? Yes, Raku Sakakibara thought that it was really fun to talk to Principal Tachibana. He knew exactly what he wanted to ask and didn't beat around the bush. Well, this is something that was entrusted to me in July. As the principal, she also came up with an explanation report that I couldn't find a reason for rejecting. It's both private and public, and after all considerations, it's okay to agree to this little thing. Is that so? Haha, I think she wants to help you in Kyo. You don't have to think too much, and it's not that the school wants to make things difficult for you. Li Yulai is good at bow and arrow, and all the teachers in the bow practice world praise her as extremely talented. Xiao, you should be able to learn a lot from playing with her once, and it should be for this reason that Kyo asked me for help. So that's it? Well, thank you uncle. It's okay. Is there anything else besides this problem? No, thank you uncle. It's okay, I'll hang up now. It's time for me to get up and take care of things. Well, I won't disturb you uncle anymore. After hanging up the phone, Sakakibara put the phone back in his trouser pocket, carried the lunchbox and came to the door of 2-2's room. My head seems to be still awake, a little groggy, and I can't remember things clearly. However, Chi Minjiao's words "I want to sleep with you" late last night left a deep impression on him. Although I have regarded this sentence as a joke, but a beautiful girl comes to your bed in the middle of the night and says such a sentence to you, you can't even think about it. What if she was serious? What if she was joking and he mistakenly thought he was serious? Similar ideas abound. Chi Minjiao will help her secretly, which also shows that she is not completely a little devil with only bad intentions. She also cares about people, but she doesn't usually show it. Sakakibara Raku said that he usually likes Nanamajetsu, the quirky sister. She seems to be indifferent to everything, but in fact she still has a little tenderness of her own deep inside. If there was a click, the door suddenly opened. The 7 bright moons of the sky and the sea appeared in front of her eyes, and her hair seemed to have not been combed yet. Brother, are you just sitting at the door in a daze? Sakakihara picked up the lunchbox and said with a smile, I went downstairs to help you make food. What did you do? Tian Haikimingya glanced at him. Hand-pulled noodle. The topic suddenly stopped for a while. Brother, is it like this every day? Get up in the morning and make breakfast. Of course, we have known each other for almost 2 months, and it has been like this most of the time within 2 months. Aren't you tired? Haha, Julie Yulai has asked me this question many times. That was what my sister asked, and now Chi Minjiao is asking. I said before that there is nothing wrong with letting the family enjoy their meal. Is this part of my brother's tenderness? It's up to you to define this. It's okay to take it for granted like a Ling did before. You have to lose many things that you take for granted before you feel cherished. My sister Chan only felt a sense of crisis because of the appearance of my sister and me. In other words, she began to realize how good you are, brother. I understand, that's exactly how I feel recently. He said such a long list of meaningless words, like a pretext for the topic. Sakakibara decided to ask her what happened last night. Nana Mingzuki, what you suddenly said to me last night. Tianhai Kaimingyu looked uninterested. Brother, do you think I like you? It's best not. Sakakihara looked at her seriously. Tianhai Chi Minjio took a breath obviously, and then relaxed quickly. Indeed not. My brother is making good progress towards my sister now. Taking advantage of today's heart-to-heart talk, I should be able to gain some special favor from my sister. Really, Sakakihara Raku could see that she was avoiding the topic. Brother is so suspicious. If I say now that I do like you, brother, how will you react? Sakakibara thought for a while. 99% will think you are teasing me. There was no trace of emotion on Tianhai Kaimingyu's delicate face, so, the answer is that simple. Besides, even if there is a 0.000001% probability, I really like you, brother, so what will happen? My brother likes my sister. The fact is that it is true. But I still hope you won't think too much about it. Brother, don't think too much about it. Seeing that the topic was over, Sakakihara picked up the food box in his right hand and said, it's better to eat the ramen quickly. The taste will be much worse after soaking for a long time. Tianhai Kaimingyu moved away, allowing him room to enter. Before going in, Sakakibara glanced at Tianhai Kaimingyu again. Her face is as beautiful and delicate as her sister's. Brother, do you have anything else you want to ask? Sakakibara looked at her and asked, can I call you July? Tianhai Kaimingyu's expression changed for the first time. Did sister tell you? Yes, she said this is your nickname and it will make you more friendly when you call it. That's good, but I refuse. Sakakibara didn't ask about the reason. He turned around and didn't look at her dreamy and beautiful eyes. Although his tone was ordinary, he might hear a little disappointment. Then I'd better call you Chi Minjio. It's quite cordial. Tianhai Kaimingyu watched him walk in, watched him put the lunchbox on the small table and bring out 3 bowls of ramen. These 3 bowls of ramen have obvious differences in taste. There are 2 red soups and 1 clear soup. The clear soup bowl also comes with a spoon. He probably knew that he didn't like drinking soup from a bowl. Brother, you always pay attention to such small details. Tianhai Kaimingyu couldn't describe how she felt in her heart at this moment. But if she really wants to evaluate her, the Sakakibara Raku in front of her is the one person besides her sister who is willing to understand her. Bandage the ankle twice, carry it once, and hold it twice. And, things that happened a long time ago. Looking at his back, which was taller than hers, Tianhai Kaimingyu recalled these things inexplicably deep in her heart. Like. It's not really a like, but it's true that I have a good impression. I'll wake up Suzu. Come over and eat. Sakakihara turned around and said to her. Tianhai Kaimingyu nodded slightly and put all those thoughts back into her stomach. She looked at the bowl of fragrant ramen and thought to herself, no wonder her sister kept telling herself that her brother was a very good person. Never mind. Tianhai Kaimingyu shook her head again. Why do you think about things so heavily? Some things are not necessary. While you're out for a trip, it's a good idea to sit in the shade and read a book. The morning training camp went on in an orderly manner. After lunch, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, today's arrangements were as promised by Tianhai Juliuli. Mr. Sakahara gathered everyone together and explained that the school agreed to everyone's request to spare some practice time to prepare barbecue ingredients. In other words, from now on, everyone can disperse and go buy ingredients on the street. Get whatever you want to eat. And all the bills will be paid by Minister Tianhai. The entire archery club was in a state of excitement and cheered in unison. Minister Tianhai. Minister Tianhai. Minister Tianhai. Minister Tianhai is on board. Minister Tianhai is on board. Okay, Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled and warned everyone, don't bring too much food. It's a waste if you can't finish it. Remember to bring some drinks and other things. There are barbecue grills and coal hotels. There is no need for everyone to prepare. Good. Very good. The boys' voices were like guinea baboons on stimulants, so wild that many girls holding longbows joked that they looked like monkeys. The boys didn't care what the girls said. They just knew each other, held hands, took a few steps and went out to buy ingredients together. Some girls wanted to call Tianhaijuli Yulai to go buy barbecue ingredients together, but she declined because she wanted to accompany her two younger sisters who were traveling here. Didn't the minister want to be alone with Sakakibara-kun? That's not true. Faced with the ridicule, Amamikuruori smiled generously and said, Sakakibara-kun is also a member of my sister's club. He was just called by her to help. Now I want to go find them too. Then the minister's sister likes Sakakibara-kun, right? This question made Tianhaijuli Yulai hesitate for a moment, because based on her observation, Chi Minjiao seemed to have a good impression of her brother. To say I like it is hard to say. Just a very close level. It doesn't count, Tianhaijuli Yulai said. Another girl took the speaking girl's arm and advised, okay, there are some things you can't just ask. Maybe even the minister doesn't know, so don't embarrass the minister. Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Minister, for treating us to a barbecue today. The girl immediately made a naval salute, but it was not very standard. Haha, Shiori-chan, your hands are turned backwards. Huh? Is that so? Haha, no matter what, Minister, we will go out to buy ingredients first. When we came here, I really wanted to try the fish here. I heard it is very fresh. Good. Goodbye, see you tonight, Minister. Goodbye. Tianhaijuli Yulai waved to the last two people, took another look inside the archery dojo, and after confirming that no one was there, walked out of the side door. She put on her slippers, closed the door, and soon found Raku Sakakibara squatting by the stream outside the bamboo fence. She turned her upper body sideways, glanced in that direction twice, and then walked over. On the bank of the creek is a small embankment made of stones. On this side is a private archery dojo, and on the opposite side is a bamboo forest. The water surface is about 1 meter high from the ground, and there is a small stone bridge in the middle for people to walk around. The rocks and cracks were covered with green moss. Sakakibara Raku felt a little uneasy at the moment. He was holding a piece of dogtail grass in his hand. Half of the soles of his feet were hanging out, and his body was swaying with the dogtail grass in his hand. He stared at the undulating reflection in the stream, thinking about Chi Minjiao in the morning, and how to comfort Julie Yulai. After practicing Bao all day, he couldn't find any opportunity to talk about the quarrel and take the opportunity to comfort Julie Yulai. The disguise of Tianhaijuli Yulai's expression was almost watertight. Still so sunny and serious. She couldn't help but feel disappointed, which made Sakakibara have to wonder, was she really sad? Sakakibara Raku's body shook more and more. This feeling of wandering by the river is strange and interesting. The feeling of being about to fall but not being able to fall can make people relax. He was so engrossed in his thoughts that he didn't notice Tianhaijuli Yulai walking behind him. He continued to wander by the stream. Tianhaijuli Yulai was a little curious about what her brother was thinking, so she reached out and patted him on the shoulder in a normal manner. Who? Suddenly someone tapped his shoulder from behind, and Sakakibara Raku was naturally startled. He reflexively wanted to stand up, but half of his feet were hanging outside. As he stood up, the moss-covered stones made him lose his center of gravity. Finished. Sakakibara looked at the stream below and thought to himself just before falling. Tianhaijuli Yulai was also frightened by his actions. She found that he had lost his balance and wanted to quickly reach out and grab him. Oh! Brother! Julie Yulai, don't pull me. This is it. Suzu Sakakihara poked her head around and took pictures of bamboos everywhere with her mobile phone. I didn't expect that the place where they stayed together was quite beautiful. There are paths, bamboo forests, and streams. I'd like to take more pictures for Tiano to see. Amami Nanamajetsu, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped, and Sakakihara Suzu, who was looking around, bumped into her back. Why did you stop suddenly? Sakakihara Suzu closed her eyes and raised her head in confusion. Tianhai Kaimingyu didn't reply, she just stood on the stone bridge and looked at the bottom of the bridge with her dull eyes. You're not saying anything. What are you looking at? Sakakihara Suzu walked over, and in doubt, followed her line of sight and looked in that direction. That scene made her cover her mouth and laugh. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 111. The water in the creek is ice cold. Holding my hands in the river bed, I could clearly see one or two small swimming fish escaping in panic. The hakama kimono used for archery on his body was completely soaked. Sakakibara wiped his wet face and shook the water away. Not far away, he saw Julie Yulai, whose body was half soaked in the stream. He quickly went to help him. Pick her up. Are you okay? It's okay, my clothes are just wet. Are there any scratches on your legs? Neither does this. Out of concern, Sakakibara couldn't help but take a few more glances at her appearance, her wet flaxen hair, her hakama clothes that were soaked in the stream so tightly that they clung to her body, and her upper body curves that couldn't be concealed at all when wet. Just these few glances made him lose his mind for a moment. No wonder people say that a wet body is seductive. A beautiful girl is really seductive after she gets wet. Even the skin under the clothes and the slings on the shoulders can be vaguely seen. Still pink. Ahem. Sakakibara put away his messy thoughts and helped Jurulai up. By chance, Sakakibara looked up and saw two familiar figures on the bank of the creek. Sakakibara Suzu and Amami Nanamajitsu. Sakakihara Suzu is smiling, Nanamijiu. Her expression is hard to tell, it seems expressionless, and a little cold. Well, she must be blaming herself for dragging her sister into the water. The relationship between the two sisters is very good. Tianhai Kaimingyu crossed her arms and asked the two people who were walking up on the gravel below, what's going on? Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled and explained, it's my fault. My brother was thinking about something on the shore just now, and I accidentally scared him. Sakakibara Raku, who fell into the water, continued, then, in order to pull me, Julie Yulai accidentally lost his balance, and they both fell into the water. Seeing her brother's unlucky look, Sakakihara Suzu covered her mouth with both hands, trying to block her smile. What kind of ancient morning love drama, they fell into the water together, ha ha ha. It's too bloody. Don't take the love plot of a morning drama into reality, Raku Sakakibara couldn't help but retort to Suzu Sakakibara, it's nothing but falling into the water. Tianhai Kaimingyu tapped her arm with her index finger, could it be that my brother is planning to do something else? Looking carefully, Sakakibara Raku was supporting the wet Amami Kuruuri, looking very concerned. Sakakihara Suzu's smile disappeared instantly. That's what you said. Both Sakakibara Raku and Amami Kuruuri knew she was joking, so they didn't care and stood up from the low stream in a few steps. Be careful, the stones are covered with moss. Okay, all right. Because of the dripping water, a large piece of the roadside they walked on was wet. Is sister okay? It's fine. Do you want to wear my clothes? Well, you don't need this one. There are spare hakama clothes in the dormitory. Just change to that one. Sister, it's true that I let my brother get a big advantage. Okay, okay, Tianhai Julie Yulai said with a smile, don't blame me, and don't talk nonsense. Slow down and go buy food. Tianhai Julie Yulai picked up the wet skirt and raised her head without any warning. Chi Minjiao, are you worried about something? No, Tianhai Kaimingyu was obviously prepared. You can't fool me. It's not like my sister doesn't know that I don't lie. That's right, Tianhai Julie Yulai looked at her face that was exactly like his own, but I always feel that you have something on your mind. Oh? How did sister sense it? I don't know, but I feel it. So sister, are you admitting that there is a twin connection between us? No need to hug me, I'm still wet. I don't dislike my sister. It's not a question of whether you dislike it or not. Amamai Kuruori looked at the other side, where Sakakihara Suzu was helping Sakakihara Raku wring out her clothes. Does my brother have hakama clothes in the dormitory? If not, you can wear mine. When Sakakihara Suzu heard this, she felt a little awkward for no reason. She asked with confusion, but my brother is a boy. Tianhaiju really explained, the Kyoto Hakama suit can be worn by both men and women, and it is very loose. My clothes should be just right for my brother, big and small. If the Kyoto suit gets wet, it's okay if you don't have clothes to change. Amamai Nanamajetsu looked at Sakakibara Raku. I remember that brother brought 2 sets of clothes, right? I brought 2 sets, but I don't have the key to the boys' dormitory. They must have gone to the street long ago. Tianhai Kaimingyu said coldly, it takes more than 10 minutes to walk down the street. So, this is all we can do. Sakakihara Suzu was reluctant. Tianhai Kaimingyu said with a hint of ridicule, but in an emotionless tone. Sister Chan, if you want your brother to wear your clothes, that's fine too. That's not what I meant. Sakakihara Suzu's voice became smaller and smaller as she spoke. Strange. Why do you feel that Lele feels uncomfortable wearing Julie Yulai's clothes? If he wears his own clothes, even though he has a bit of a bad taste in wanting to see Lele wearing a skirt, he is also a little happy. Isn't that someone who is a brother controller? Sakakihara Suzu quickly threw this terrible thought to her feet and stamped her feet hard. No, no. Absolutely not. It is, and it will definitely not be me. Sakakibara Suzu glanced at Sakakibara Raku. But he seems to be a bit more handsome recently. Sakakihara Suzu quickly averted her gaze, and then blushed inexplicably. She panicked. Something is wrong, something is completely wrong. Why do you think the old man is still handsome after falling into the water? Sakakihara Raku said while squeezing out the water, forget it, her clothes are either skirts or shorts, and they are too small for me to wear. In order to hide her inner panic, Sakakihara Suzu closed her eyes and crossed her arms. I don't mind wearing a skirt for you. How can there be a sister who wears a dress for her brother? What? It's normal for a sister to want to wear a dress for her brother. It's definitely a lie. Sakakihara looked at her with disgust. Sakakihara Suzu was angry, it's true. If not, you can ask Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiao. Tianhai Kaimingyu, I want to call you sister. But I don't mind seeing my brother wearing Sister Chan's skirt. Am I the only one with abnormal feelings? Tianhai Julie Yulai calmed down the atmosphere and said, just wear normal clothes. Tianhai Kaimingyu, if brother doesn't understand, you can try to exchange identities. Do you want to see your sister wearing men's clothes? Men's Julie Yulai? He seems quite handsome, but it doesn't quite fit her personality. Okay, let's go back and take a shower. Brother, you don't have the key. Just because you don't have a key doesn't mean you can't use the bathroom. After chatting for a while, they returned to the dormitory together. Ha ha ha. When Sakakibara came out of the bathhouse, rubbing her steaming hair with a towel. Suzu, her arrogant little sister, was holding her belly and laughing to herself. Can you still laugh when my brother falls into the water? If you fall into the water, do you think I will laugh at you? Okay, I will indeed laugh at her. Maybe even laugh louder than she does. Fortunately, when Sakakibara looked at her, she immediately turned into a soldier who was stared at by the regiment leader. Both her chest and waist stood taller than a pen. Brother, you didn't see anything just now, and I didn't mean to laugh at you for falling into the water. Sakakihara put a knife on her head. You emphasized it specifically because you were afraid that I wouldn't understand what you meant, right? It's true, Sakakihara Suzu stubbornly pushed against his hand, as if she wanted to show that her head was harder than his hand. This stubborn and arrogant attitude made Sakakibara couldn't help but put his hands on her cute face. Apologize properly. Sakakihara Suzu's tone of voice changed. It hurts, why do you always like to pinch my face? Because the only thing you can do is make me laugh. What? I can still act cute. Then give it a try. Sakakihara looked forward to seeing what happened. No, how can you suddenly sell something cute if you are cute? This requires emotional accumulation. Sakakibara Suzu hugged his arm and smiled at him. Hey, but you are so lucky to have such a lovely sister. If I become famous in the future, I will not forget you. Really? I can't believe a sister who used to have to hold me in her arms when peeing. Wow. Talk about this again. Don't say it. But this is a fact. Sakakihara smiled. I don't even remember. It doesn't count anyway. Sakakihara shook his head. No matter what you say, I will never forget that you were picked up by me. That was when I was a child. The angel was not fully developed yet. You are an angel, then who am I? Angel's wet nurse. Sakakibara hit her on the head with another blast, causing her to cover her head and close her eyes as if she was about to cry. I am your brother. Damn it, how can my brother hit my sister? Sakakihara Suzu held her head, tears were about to come out, and muttered in a low voice, it's not my brother who is better. I'm not your brother, you would have starved to death long ago. My mother will take care of me. Our mother has to work and is away from home every day. You are the only one. I will never starve you to death. Brother, sister's clothes. Nanami walked over from outside the store expressionlessly and handed a white hakama suit to Sakakibara Raku. Sakakibara Raku said to Sakakibara Suzu, who was rubbing her head, I'm going to change clothes. Sakakihara Suzu pouted, it's like I want to peek at you changing clothes. Your brother has ABS. Oh, do you really have one? Show me. Raku Sakakibara's head is full of black lines, do you really want to see emotions? No. TCH, don't look if you don't want to. Okay, I won't talk nonsense to you, I'm going to change clothes. Sakakihara Suzu agreed on the surface, but in fact, when he entered, she curiously poked her head inside. You said you won't watch it if you don't want to watch it. Sakakibara Raku kept his head outside, staring blankly at Sakakibara Suzu who was running away in a panic. It's just that I happened to stick my head over it. Yeah. I really didn't mean to peek at you. Yeah. You are my brother, but you are not handsome yet. Yeah. Smelly Lele. Sakakihara Suzu made a face. Sakakihara wanted to pinch her face again, so she ran away quickly, hid behind a pillar, and continued to make faces. Sakakibara thought she was quite cute and smiled, okay, I won't tease you anymore, I really changed my clothes. I got it. This time Sakakihara Suzu was really at ease, and Sakakihara Raku also took the hakama clothes worn by Kuruori and changed into them. I straightened my clothes and tied my hakama. Not to mention, Juliuli is 170 centimeters tall, but her hakama clothes fit her perfectly. The experience of wearing girls' clothes is very subtle. The key is, this dress still has the light fragrance of her body. Sakakibara sniffed it specially. When he went out, Sakakihara Suzu looked at him with disgust. What's your expression? You are now full of the smell of Julie Yulai. It's just the smell of clothes. Sakakibara Suzu said 2 words silently. Sakakibara didn't see clearly what she said, but it seemed to be the name of an animal. After Julie Yulai dried her hair and packed her bags, they gathered outside the hotel and set off towards the market. Sakakibara looked at Sakakibara Suzu, who was holding her arms. Why are you sticking to me? I'm being cute. What kind of cuteness is this? Don't you feel anything when your brother is being held by such a beautiful sister? My hands are quite warm, and there's nothing else. Ryo Sakakibara said. Are you still hating the smell of me just now? What? I like my brother's sister the most. Is something wrong with Aling today? Yes, she must be kidding herself. Sakakibara Suzu put on a straight face, and sure enough, Sakakihara Suzu's secret was revealed. She said angrily, I have already said this, but you actually have this expression. As a brother, it is too much. Then do you dare to walk faster with me so that Julie Yulai and Chi Minjiu in front of you can also listen? I don't want it. Why do you want them to listen to what I told my brother? Besides, brother, why do you smell like Julie Yulai all over you? Suzu Sakakihara sniffed him. There is no smell of brother at all. Clothes, clothes, I said they are clothes. Why do you like to joke so much? Joke. Sakakihara Suzu hugged his arm and looked at him with a different look this time. It's true that I don't want you to leave Tokyo. Sincerely. Yeah, I'm sincere, serious. Sakakibara rarely saw Suzu say such sincere words to him. This shows that what he said to her a while ago had a certain effect. Ailing, many times, decisions are not changed just because they can be changed. Then, what should I do to make you change your decision? I can't answer your question either. So, to you, brother, I'm actually not that important, right? How come? Then why can you ignore what I say? Because. Sakakibara paused. Because no matter how good the relationship is, brothers and sisters will be separated one day, and you should learn to grow up. Growing up, Sakakihara Suzu muttered, and then asked, is growing up a good thing? Sakakihara knew in her heart that she was remembering the past time with her words. In the past, although I had no money, I was very happy when I came home from school every day. The 2 brothers and sisters often quarreled, often disliked each other, and often fought over competing for TV shows. Even if nothing happened, they would throw pillows at each other and start a fight. The 2 of them were silent for the rest of the time. Sakakihara Suzu had been holding her breath in her heart. When she looked at her brother, she felt like she wanted to say something but couldn't. Brother, can you stay here? I don't want you to leave. Such words cannot be said. Sakakihara Suzu followed his steps and came to the lively market. But it was the lively atmosphere that made the discomfort in her heart even more fermented. She thought about the beef curry he made for her at midnight last night. It's just a very ordinary taste, I'm used to it, but I don't know why, I just can't live without it. Compared with the food outside, I don't know how many times it tastes better. As I was eating it last night, my throat suddenly became sour. Thinking about what he had said before that he would leave Tokyo one day, I couldn't help but ask him that question. The 4 of them came to the street, a shopping street specializing in selling various ingredients. Brother, after struggling for a long time, Sakakihara Suzu still called him. Raku Sakakibara selected the beef for barbecue. He thought that Nan Minjiu and Julie Yulai would like to eat more expensive beef. Is there any gift you'd like? Want to give it to me? I'm sorry. You can use that little money for yourself to buy cosmetics, clothes, etc. It's all good. After all, it's your hard-earned money. Sakakibara Suzu stood behind him, squeezing her left arm with her right hand, looking at his back as he patiently selected ingredients. In the bustling market, her head suddenly became confused. Because she seemed to see a strange shadow appearing next to him. She didn't know who that shadow was, but she knew that it must be the person Sakakihara Raku would date in the future, the girlfriend he liked. The two were talking and laughing, discussing the taste and texture of the ingredients, what to eat tonight, what to eat tomorrow, and interesting things that happened during the day. Very sweet and enviable. Ken. Only I forgot myself. In the future, he might forget his promise to cook dinner for himself today. I waited for him at home until late at night, hugging a pillow and huddled on the edge of the sofa. In the midst of boring TV dramas and the sound of a ticking clock, I received a phone call. I thought it was the explanation that he accidentally forgot the time, but he smiled and apologized on the phone and said, "Sorry, Ailing, I'll do it for you another day. I have to accompany Triple X, she has a cold and is sick." As soon as the phone hangs up, it seems like the whole world has turned gray and dark. Sakakibara's right hand squeezed her arm tighter and tighter, and her head buried lower and lower. At the last moment, she suddenly raised it and shouted to Sakakibara, who was still selecting roast beef. "No." The sudden loud shouting made the owner and customers in the store look towards the two of them. Many people on the street stopped. Sakakibara Raku, who was holding the beef, turned around. When he saw the battle, he also saw Suzu suddenly biting her lip. She was even more confused. What's not working? That's right, it just doesn't work. Sakakihara was completely confused. He felt like his hair was almost falling out, and he was still confused. What's not working? Curry. Beef curry. Want to eat curry beef? Raku Sakakibara found that everyone was looking at him, and Juliuli and Chi Minjiu across from him also looked over. He was a little panicked, making it seem like he was bullying the little girl, but we have barbecue tonight. Barbecue. As soon as she heard about eating barbecue, Sakakihara Suzu came back to her senses. After noticing everyone's gazes, I realized that I had said something embarrassing. Her face was red, like a child who had made a mistake, and her two little hands were entangled in front of her. Faced with this situation, she could only continue the topic. Yes, I just want to eat curry beef. It turned out to be a young couple acting coquettishly. Passers-by on the street understood the reason, smiled, then shook their heads and continued walking forward. Sakakibara felt that she was confused. He sighed and said, "If you want to eat, come over and help get something. I'll go to the supermarket later and buy some curry for you." "Really? Will you really do it for me?" Sakakihara Suzu approached him in 2 small steps. What's going on with Aling's inexplicably hopeful look? Sakakihara was confused. I can do it, I can do it. You promised me before that you would cook whatever I wanted to eat. Don't be perfunctory. Okay, I get it. After that, Sakakihara Suzu fell into a long silence following behind Sakakihara Raku. Only Tianhai Kaimingyu, who was observing calmly across from him, seemed to see some clues.